altitude is making me lightheaded. Well, it may also be my genital blood loss.
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
I'm Chad McCanna.
What's so funny, Chad?
The ape raper, of course, who helps us open each show.
Lovely fellow, yeah.
I didn't expect to hear genital blood loss echoing.
Well, what
genital
were you?
Blood loss.
What were you expecting? I mean, it's the ape raper. I'm kind of braced for any eventuality, and that's pretty tame compared to the stuff he said at the top of our show.
That's a fair point. He seems to have tamed his rhetoric lately, almost as if he's trying to appeal to a wider audience.
Ah, couldn't be. No. He's a loose cannon, baby. Look, you can't, I don't know. He's free as a bird, and he does what he wants. And he's on a road trip right now, so he probably doesn't have time to be extra offensive. He's just preoccupied with traveling.
Yeah. Being an utter train wreck of non-political correctness does take a lot of time.
It does. And it's either I'm going to get to the next state or I'm going to offend everybody in this state. But I've got to pick one or the other.
He's got his priorities in order, and that's what I appreciate about the ape raper.
That's right. Although, I will say, visiting state after state, offending everyone he can, sounds like Donald Trump right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's like the Johnny Appleseed of human seed.
I smell a movie.
No, you don't. That's not what you smell.
Let's add that to the Patreon milestones. Why don't we?
Well, speaking of Patreon,
hey,
segues. We had a great first
they're
week.
not segues if you point them out.
A segue has been killed. No, it was great. We had a really, honestly, a way more successful first week than I expected us to, and that's thanks to many of you that are listening. Some of which
you expected $1.50 at best.
Yeah, that might be generous. I expected a little bit of loose change. In that I thought that we would learn the truth about 9/11.
Yeah, no, you just expected somebody to clean out their pockets. There's some lint and Werther's original hard candy. And
wait, do you view most of our dedicated audience as septuagenarians?
Only when I'm not wearing pants.
It does conjure a very sexy mental image, doesn't it?
Gilf.
So anyway, as I was saying, some of those aforementioned generous donors are actually listening to us live. At the $5 tier, you basically have access to our live Twitch stream of every Kongversation.
And I crunched the numbers, Chad. I did the maths, and that is between 16 and 17 cents a day, depending on the given month.
Oh, my God. For less than the price of putting food into a starving African child's mouth, you can listen to us talk about ape rape.
That's right. Well, we don't talk. We talk about a guy talking about it.
Right. Okay. It's a
fundamental difference. Our hands are clean.
Yeah, we play 6 Degrees of Ape Raper on this show.
That's right.
Yeah,
anyway.
So, at any rate, also there's another Kongversation-related Patreon tier. At $2 a month, you get access to every episode of the show a day early on both YouTube and SoundCloud.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to wait till Saturday morning, you can get it on Friday morning instead, which will help your Friday commute if you commute. It's a nice way to end the week.
No, it's not. No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be self-deprecating. Yeah, it's a great way to end the week. Kyle was right.
This isn't an awful product we're providing. No, it's top of the line, high quality.
Yeah, and not to belabor the Patreon point, but we also have I think a really great $25 tier, which invites you into our Inner Circle chat room, which has basically all of the DK Vine staff, Alistair Craig. That's worth the price of admission alone.
That's right.
Yeah, the Rubber Chicken and Cheeky Moon Films, Alistair Craig. And it's also got a couple of really fantastic Patreon donors in there so far. It's honestly like never not hopping. Every time I go into there, there's hundreds of messages that I've missed.
Well, that's because it's international. We got people in the UK. We've got people in Australia. We've got people in the East Coast of the United States, the West Coast, somewhere in between. It's great because like literally any time of the day, there's somebody in there.
Yes.
And I'm a night owl, so you can usually catch me between midnight and 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's really strange. I've noticed that in this chat room, usually you're not only awake when the UK folks go to sleep, you're also still awake when they wake back up.
I'm very motherly. Being an Anglophile, I'm very motherly towards our UK patrons. I want to make sure they get to bed soundly. I want to make sure they rise safely. You know, I protect them. I watch over them. I'm like a Santa Claus that never goes away.
Wow. I never would have thought of it in those terms, but you're absolutely right.
Absolutely, I am. Also, we do have another tier. The $10 tier will get you a special bonus episode of the Kongversation every month. Kongversation Live, as we're calling it.
Yeah, we need to come up with better branding for that because people are already getting confused. The fact that the regular Kongversations are being streamed live and that we're calling it the bonus Kongversation Live. We need to come up with a better name for it.
No, this is a live episode of the Kongversation to the people who are the right tier or above. This episode that we're promoting will be called Kongversation Live. I don't see how people could get confused by that.
Live Conversation Live. You do the math. No, let's seriously. It's going to be a lot of fun. We actually have something to announce about that one.
Yes.
There was much ballyhoo about the format. You know, we wanted to make that one a special interactive episode, and initially we were just going to be interacting with the live Twitch chat. Everyone $5 and up would, actually $10 and up would get access to that. But we did a little bit of research, a little bit of trial and error, and we
put on our Benedict Cumberbatch hats and did some Sherlocking.
Mm-hmm. And we realized that not only are we sociopaths, but
sexy pale sociopaths that the ladies love on Tumblr and whatnot,
and that can travel to Kronos just like that. I'm still honestly, I don't know why that just stuck in my craw about Star Trek Into Darkness, but for fuck's sake.
There's a lot of things that could have stuck in your craw, and I'm not sure where your craw is actually located on your body, so forgive me if I'm being insensitive, but there's a lot of things about that movie. You, as a diehard Star Trekker?
I don't care.
Okay, you as a diehard Star Trekian, you know, I would imagine that movie would have irritated you quite a bit, especially the fact that the spoilers, the last 25% of it was just a mixed up, mashed up version of Wrath of Khan with some tribbles attached.
Yeah. Oh God, the tribble. Yeah. I just saw it the one time in the theater. I haven't been able to bring myself to see it again, but was it ultimately in the end that recipe that saved Kirk's life, was that a tribble thing? I don't remember.
Blood, yeah.
It was tribble blood. Okay, I didn't remember if it was tribbles or for fuck's sake. Less said about that and Benedict Cumberbatch's role the better, but at any rate,
it was an entertaining movie if you can just divorce it from any and all context with Star Trek.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't know who it was appealing. Whatever. I have trepidatious trust in Simon Pegg to do right by the script of Star Trek Into Third Sequel, but we'll
trust
see.
Anybody with the last name of Pegg, lads?
Oh, jeez. We're trying to clean this thing up, man. You're just dragging us back into the gutter.
Good luck with that, Chad. So anyway,
we were doing some Sherlocking, and we figured out
what a tangent that was.
I know. I found our way back. We can take live calls on the Kongversation hotline during those Kongversation live episodes.
That's right. So you will be able to call in live and enchant us. You know how unpredictable this is going to be? Live calls, a live episode, completely live format. Anything could happen.
Anything that could be within the scope of vocal conversation can happen.
Anything could happen.
Anything can happen.
Look, last week was Halloween, and, we always say anything could happen on Halloween. Anything can happen on Halloween, excuse me. Yeah. So what we did was we took Halloween, we stole some, fluid from its adrenal gland. We bottled that. we hooked it up to some sort of I don't know, like device that distills it into audio form, and we channel that into the Kongversation live. So basically, this is going to be like Halloween every month.
That's
Did you get all that?
I think so. I was following you sort of lost me on this magical device that converts the adrenal gland of a holiday, but I'm just going to assume that you were telling the truth.
Yeah, it's like the stuff that takes seawater and makes it drinkable.
Oh, okay. It's exactly that technology, only used for completely impossible purposes.
You know, you can also just give yourself a seawater enema if you're out at sea.
Why would one do that? It sounds like it would be really dehydrating to your cold. Okay, so enough about Patreon. There's another big announcement that we have.
Yes. So, while back, well, you remember back during the whole convention season of the summer.
How can I forget, Hyle?
Well, around Comic-Con time, Rare was promoting these fan packs. Basically, it's this whole bag full of goodies in what's a Banjo-Kazooie backpack. You know, blue. You know, it's modeled after Banjo's backpack. It's got the Banjo-Kazooie logo on it. But inside,
you don't think Banjo's backpack has a Banjo-Kazooie logo?
Well,
it's always the logo on this one. It's in between the two shoulder straps. So who's to say? Oh wait, no, I take that back, because in the sequel he can put himself inside the pack. Never mind.
That's right. See, you don't know what you're talking about, Chad. That you should be disqualified from hosting this week's episode.
Look, anytime I go down an incorrect tangent, I eventually find my way back to reality.
All right, well, fair enough. So anyway, it's basically a Banjo-Kazooie backpack, and inside there's all sorts of goodies. I mean, like really like top-of-the-line rare goodies, including a real-life Viva Pinata Fudge Hog. And Fudge Hog, if you're not familiar with the Viva Pinata franchise, Fudge Hog is not a disgusting sex act. It is actually...
It's not a polite way to say fuck hog.
No, it is actually butt fuck hog,
actually.
Well, I mean, if you're going to bring fudge into it. Anyway, I'm sorry, Rare, if you're listening to this.
Look, I tried to keep it clean and classy with fuck hog, and you had to drag it through the gutter yet again.
I know. Where are my manners? This is such a genteel show, and I just come in here like a bull in a china shop. So yeah, it has a real, honest to God, Fudge Hog pinata, like realistic scale and everything. It's
filled with presumably Chewits. I don't have the heart to crack it open.
It's got some candy inside, real candy. And there's also all sorts of other goodies in there. We're going to be posting screenshots of this, pictures of it.
Well, everyone's seen the promotional shot.
Well, not everybody has seen it. I'm sure there's a lot of people listening out there who have not seen it. So
yeah,
but
there's a perfect dark wallet, a shirt of Conquer,
Battletoads sunglasses.
Yeah,
shirt of Conquer. That's right.
A whole bunch of stickers, including the Attic Attack logo.
So yeah. You know,
if you wanted anyone, you know, if you're working on your laptop in a coffee shop, you want people to know that you're a Spectrum fan. Hey, this is your fan pack.
See, I was thinking you put that on, your rear view mirror, or not your rear view mirror, your, back windshield, and when you're driving on the highway, supermodels are going to pass you, see that sticker, and they're going to stop, and they're like, "Who's that? Who's that?" I'm gonna sex that person.
That is the verb. There's Joanna Dark stickers, a whole bunch of Banjo logo, Conquer logo, Rare Replay logo. All kinds of great stuff. The Conquer shirt is distressed, which I hear is very popular with the youth.
With the kids today. It's hip.
Right. It's pre-distressed, so you don't have to wear it until it looks, ragged. But it's not actually ragged. It's a very high-quality cotton shirt.
I imagine it's like a Benjamin Button situation where the more you wear it, the less distressed it becomes. Now, don't take my word for this. I'm just speculating.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to false advertise this thing. But the point is, we've got one of these burning a hole in our pockets.
That's right. And we had to get very big pants to fit these in our pockets. So at this point, it's becoming embarrassing. We've got to get rid of these pants. And that means we've got to get rid of this fan pack. Right. So we are proud to announce with this episode that we are launching the Rare Replay Rare Fan Pack Ultimate Fan Giveaway, presented by DK Vine.
That's right. The Rare Replay Rare Fan Pack Ultimate Fan Giveaway presented by DK Vine can be entered by anyone, but it's really centered around social media and forum engagement.
So here's what you got to do. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going to start a thread on the DK Vine forum for this. It's going to be in general DKU discussion. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. And we'll start this thread on Saturday when the episode proper goes up. So hey, you patrons out there, just hold your horses. You'll get to it.
So basically, this is a way to gauge who is the ultimate fan on DK Vine.
Right.
And to do that, we want to see your level of engagement with DK Vine. So basically,
I hate that word, engagement. Like, I'll stop the pitchman voice for a second just to say how much it makes my skin crawl. This idea of engage, we must be engaged on every. It's just,
basically this contest is designed to improve the levels of synergy among DK Vine's various endeavors. So. Yes. It's all about synergy.
Yes, our backward overflows are disproportionately unsynergetic, and we want to reappropriate that for our verticals.
Man, my backward overflows are always overflowing after fudge hogging. So we're giving away this fan pack, and here's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Anybody is eligible to enter, except Chad and I. But basically, also it'd be kind of crappy if Craig Duncan or somebody from Rare entered this.
Yeah, Craig, please. I mean, I know you are a massive Rare fan, but go talk to Lee and Emma. They might have a Rare fan pack for you.
So basically, you're gonna have to be a member of the forum to enter. Initially, because you've got to make an initial post in this thread. And in that post, you've got to prove to us that your level of engagement. Basically, you can have up to 5 entries in this raffle. It's going to be a raffle. We're just going to randomly pull a name, but you can have up to 5 entries in the raffle. If you can prove to us in this thread, and we'll have the full rules in the thread, and we'll put it up on the site and social media. So, if you're not following along, we're going to give you the concrete rules here by Saturday. But if you're a member of the DK Vine forum and you post in this thread, you're entered. If you follow us on Twitter, you're entered. If you follow us on Facebook, entered. Tumblr, you're entered. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you're entered.
Yeah.
So you're going to be entered up to 5 times. There's no we're not doing this by how much money you're giving us through Patreon, because that wouldn't be cool.
Right.
But it would be a really great way to get money. But we're above that. We're not going to sell this thing to the highest bidder. No, sir. We want to give this to a fan.
Yeah. Also, there are probably legal ramifications to selling it to the highest bidder.
Schmiegel. So, I don't care. Schmiegel. That was the name of.
What does Lord of the Rings have to do with this?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Schmiegel, he doesn't go by Schmiegel anymore, Hyle, after he killed Deagle. So the one
ring.
The one engagement to rule them all will be the forum thread that we mentioned. So that's how you officially enter yourself. Sign up for the forum if you haven't already. Post in there saying, hey, I want to enter. And then you need to let us know, what your Twitter handle is, what your Facebook, Tumblr, YouTube, all of that stuff, so we can go and verify that you have, in fact, followed that thing. If you don't want to be public about what that is, it's very simple. Just send us a private message on the forum, or you can email chad@dkvine.com or hyle@dkvine.com. If you don't want everyone to know what your name on Facebook is. But basically, we just need you to go on the forum and tell us how many places you have signed up between Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and YouTube, and we'll add you in that many times as soon as we are able to verify it.
Right, and we're going to be running this through the holidays. Have we set a date for the actual raffle itself? When we're drawing the name?
Let's say end of November-ish.
I said through the holidays, Chad.
Oh, through the holidays. End of the year. Through the year.
Through the year. So December 31st?
Yeah, we've clearly planned this out.
Nah.
December 31st.
So December 31st, we will be drawing the name. You can be entered up to 5 times so long as you're engaged with DK Vine. So This is a really cool pack, and it's got with some very, very exclusive items in there, including the backpack. I think most of you would just kill each other over the backpack itself. So we want to prevent that. So no fatalities, please. But
this isn't the Mortal Kombat fan pack giveaway.
That's right. That would just be a body bag, I'm guessing, which would be pretty cool, actually.
Filled with spines.
And various viscera. There would be some viscera in there.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think spines can count as viscera.
No, absolutely not. No, viscera means like intestines.
I know, but if you're ripping out the spine and the guts, I mean, it all blends together.
It's a beautiful cornucopia of innards.
So anyway, the more you're engaged with DK Vine, the more chances you have to win. The Rare Replay, Rare Fan Pack Ultimate Fan Giveaway, presented by DK Vine.
That's right.
So that'll be launching this Saturday.
If you're listening to this and you're not a patron, right now.
Yeah, November 7th. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Get on it, nerds.
Yeah, you virgins.
Wait, what? I didn't say that.
Well, I don't know, but nerds, I mean, what?
Well, yeah, whatever. It wasn't
All
a
right.
pejorative. It
Okay.
was a Tina Fey quote.
Oh, sure. Okay. Anyway, we're going to be taking some of your calls here. If you want to call the Kongversation, then please dial 1-281-410-KONG. It's 5664. Yeah, and I think we've already done the rest of the due diligence, considering we plugged most everything else. I will say subscribe to the Kongversation on iTunes and rate us on iTunes when you're at it. And don't forget, we're also on SoundCloud now.
Right, and tell your friends about the show if you enjoy it. You're our honestly, it's very difficult since it's such like a niche thing to explain to people what the hell this show is. So our best option to expand the audience and to make it more fun for all of us, really, is for you guys to help us spread the word a little bit. It's a grassroots podcast.
That's right. That's right.
In that we're all high the entire time.
And we're listening to The Roots.
Right.
We really like Jimmy Fallon's house band.
Yeah.
What can
That's kind of redundant, isn't it?
What?
Being high and listening to The Roots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is that why Jimmy Fallon's always giggling at his own show?
Yeah. He slow jams the reefer.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's not get on a late night TV tangent. We actually spent 20 minutes talking about late night television before we started recording this to get it out of our system.
I wish that was a joke, but no. Yeah,
It's true.
Our pre-show conversation was 20 minutes of Colbert.
Yeah, comparing notes on Colbert and how he's stacking up compared to the Colbert Report.
Yeah.
And so we're
Quite
not going to.
favorably.
Yeah. I missed the Colbert Report though.
I
miss the abrasive nature of the Colbert Report.
All right, let's not get into that. We got Nintendo to talk about.
Yeah. Well, speaking of abrasive, let's discuss our opinions on Nintendo. Oh!
Well, we fielded we requested some listener calls for this subject matter.
Before we take the calls, let me just set the stage. Why are we talking about Nintendo? What's going on with Nintendo? The problem is...
It's not like we're a Donkey Kong podcast or anything.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we just spent, 3 months blowing Rare. Mm-hmm. I mean, we haven't really discussed Nintendo proper in a while, probably since Iwata died. And really, since he died in July... Nintendo's kind of been a little bit baffling, understandably so in some cases. I mean, their president and leader just passed away, and it was very tragic.
Yeah,
but
and he's their he's their public face as well. So they
have a
even
couple public
bad.
faces, but yeah, he was definitely the public face of the Japanese side of things. Reggie is very much the face of the West, if you want to.
I don't know. I would say Reggie and Satoru Iwata sort of shared the public side of Nintendo, even in Western territories.
Yeah, and then I guess Miyamoto is just this delightful little elfin creature they unbox to enchant us from time to time.
One day he'll find that door in his garden and become a warrior. It's gonna happen.
That's really how he's got to leave Nintendo, right? He's got to finally become that warrior and go to that next dimension from his garden.
It'll be like the end of Cube, where the autistic guy like just walks through this mysterious white door and escapes reality as they know it.
Or the end of the Truman Show, where he just like reaches like this wall at the end of reality, and he turns around and he smiles and bows and walks out the door.
Yeah, or the end of Cheers, when Sam reaches the end of reality and turns around and turns off the light switch.
And luckily, Frasier escaped to an alternate plane of existence.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, Nintendo has lost Iwata. So I don't want to be insensitive in here, and rag on Nintendo all episode, because understandably this is a unique year for them, and for the worse. But it doesn't change the fact that their holiday lineup is abysmal. I mean, it is probably has there ever been a holiday season where Nintendo has had so little to offer?
Well, that's I don't think there has been. There's always at least been a game. It's not even Star Fox, is it, this year?
Star Fox has been delayed till next year.
Yeah,
we were talking about this in the inner circle. I believe it was on Tuesday, and we made some. I think I made the joke, but others inferred to it that what we call the winter shitfucks, which is this awful period of no news, nothing going on. Mm-hmm. Usually it lasts, post holidays up until spring, and mid spring,
Yeah.
But when we first hear rumblings about what's coming up at E3, and occasionally they'll throw us a bone with a direct or something at the time. This is the earliest that the winter shitfucks have ever sent in. We're bypassing the entire holiday season.
Thanks, climate change.
Oh, typical liberal response, Chad. You're blaming climate change on everything.
You're right. It's Al Gore's fault.
Yeah. Explain to me why it might snow at some point this year. Huh?
Well,
there you go. You can't answer that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pack the way that jet streams affect weather patterns into a soundbite, so I have no recourse.
So, we're just kidding, climate deniers. We love you too, so long as you like the Donkey Kong universe.
Yeah, we love climate denial. We love the people who deny that a climate exists.
It's just that we really like Donkey Kong Country 2, and we can't wait till we have to all live on pirate ships.
Hmm?
That's gonna be the twist in Sea of Thieves. It's gonna end. It's gonna actually be like a water world type scenario at the very end.
I was about to say everyone is Kevin Costner drinking their own urine in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Ooh, they should get Bear Grylls to do a guest voice in that game.
Is he still active? He was never eaten by his namesake?
No, he just did an episode with Obama this past month.
Wait, what? So Bear Grylls, he's the Survivor man, right? No, he's Man vs. Wild.
He's
right?
Man vs. Wild. He's got a new show. He's got a new show. I think it's called. I was going to say Running Wild, but I think that was Will Arnett show. That
now I know the Secret Service has had its share of scandals, but they are seriously falling down on the job if they're allowing the president to be in a survival scenario for the purposes of a low-rated Discovery Channel TV show.
He's on NBC now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good God, NBC, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, although BBC America is running reruns of Man vs. Wild every Tuesday night, and it's glorious. But anyway.
What hellscape could they possibly have put Barack Obama in that would have been signed off on by the Secret Service?
Obama sat down with Bear to talk about a little bit about climate change, and then they ate something that I believe a bear regurgitated, and I'm not making this up. They actually ate something regurgitated, and
Okay.
I don't think it was a full on Obama's trekking through the wilderness with Bear Grylls. I think it was more Obama's passing by the wilderness to eat something from the inside of an animal that
I know Obama still has an agenda for the next 12 months of his presidency, but when you start busting out ursine ambergris, you really might want to rethink your legislative agenda.
No, I think they're saying Obama can't go toe to toe with Putin. He's up there in Alaska eating things bears shit out. That's pretty hardcore.
It's exactly what I voted for.
I'm proud. I would vote for him for a third term based on this. That's the kind of I vote with my gut, Chad, and it's nice to see that Obama, at the very least, eats something from a creature's gut.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that in my leader.
Now you're a vegetarian. Is bear vomit veggie friendly?
Here's the thing about that. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because technically, I mean, the bear already ate it, so I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm just kind of eating its shadow. It's.
So would it depend on if it was? So bears are omnivorous. So if it were a salmon that was regurgitated,
it was salmon that I believe our president ate with Bear Grylls.
It was.
I believe it was salmon, yes.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, and people are going to call in and say, Hyle, you're wrong. It was actually, a trout. I don't know, but it was. I believe it was some sort of fish. Yes. Why are we talking about this?
These are the important things that our patrons want to hear about,
or are just our regular listeners who will never become patrons based off this. But no, I can't remember a worse holiday season. And the winter shitfucks have sent in early. Granted, they launched Super Mario Maker in September, and that's been doing very well. Yeah. Although I should point out that anything Nintendo actually gets behind and puts some marketing behind does well. I mean, I don't think they've ever had an out-and-out flop.
Right, and they're making some efforts as well to improve some of the community aspects of Mario Maker. I mean, have you played it at all yet?
No, I'm saving for a wedding, so I have to be very selective in my game purchases, meaning it has to be DKU or else.
Okay, well, while I'm playing Mario Maker, you can have fun with Mario Power Tennis or whatever. It's Ultra Smash.
I've got some rants about that. Finally, it's time for my rants.
But at any rate, it's. So when you play Mario Maker, you can play through all of the stages that come with the game, and then you're at the mercy of the community and
at the mercy, yeah,
at the mercy of a very, very busy slate of upvotes. Is a bunch of auto run stages that play like MIDI style music. And ones that basically they're titled "Do Not Move," and you watch a crazy obstacle course play out for you. That dominates about the first 40 entries, but thankfully, in an update that's coming out as we're recording, actually, November 4th, they're addressing a lot of those things. So it is nice to see Nintendo putting effort behind what's essentially a service. It's a game whose underpinnings are service related.
By the way, can I just point out that I think the last major AAA Nintendo title that they've just let die on the vine was Tropical Freeze, as far as very little marketing push behind it.
Was it really? I'm thinking, yeah, because Mario Kart did okay, and
yeah.
Well,
everything else has had either a console bundle or some sort of crazy marketing push with amiibos or whatnot. Tropical Freeze was just kind of dumped in February, like an afterthought movie, like a horror movie that couldn't make the grade for summer or October.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that there haven't been any updates or even amiibo support for that.
Tropical Freeze has just been abandoned. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what Retro moved on to, though.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit too. There's been rumors, not really, but we know they're working on something. Anyway,
well, yes, the studio still exists.
It does. It hasn't mysteriously vanished. They didn't go on a cruise in the Bermuda Triangle and wind up in, I don't know, the 1800s.
Yeah.
As you're wont to do when going through the Bermuda Triangle, because they're anyway.
Look, let's not get into Bermuda physics.
Oh man, Sea of Thieves. What if the Bermuda Triangle's in the game?
That would be that would actually indicate that it takes place in the shared Donkey Kong universe, because didn't Funky Kong reference the Bermuda Triangle?
Funky Kong did mention the Bermuda Triangle, right? Which is evidence that the rare archipelago is on our world and not the mushroom world.
That's right. So
there you go.
These are the important things.
There you go, nerds.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, so Super Mario Maker is doing well. Yes, I granted that. Bully for Nintendo, but it came out in September. Generally, if you release something in September, sales of it are going to dry up by the time the big holiday season is rolled around. Not always. If you release something, the N64 came out late September, and it did very well for itself. But consoles, usually, people don't adopt them, first week, second week, first month. They usually, that's a big Christmas gift to ask for, especially if you're a kid.
The early adopters are the diehards. And
diehards with disposable incomes and the rich kids. You know, or granted, I didn't get an N64 the first weekend. I got Donkey Kong Land 2 because that's the kind of person I am.
Yeah, it took me a couple years to get around to it.
I shoveled a lot of snow that winter.
Yeah, there's only so many, and that's not a euphemism. There's only so many lawns that one can mow. Eventually,
my fudge hog saw a lot of action. Let's just say.
Yeah. So anyway, let's. They don't have any big title this year.
And the titles they are showing are underwhelming to say the least. And I'll table that for now. Let's wait till we get some calls in, and we'll save that rant. But they don't have anything, and it's not like it was in 1997, which is I think the most comparable situation. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe this has happened before, but 1997. Banjo-Kazooie was supposed to be their big holiday release. They even inked a major tie-in promotion with Taco Bell. There's going to be a Banjo-Kazooie kids meals and all sorts of promotions. Banjo-Kazooie on the cups, whatnot. It was going to be a big deal. Unfortunately, the game had to be delayed, and for the better. I mean, it wasn't an arbitrary decision, but this is the magical time at Rare where, okay, yeah, we've got to delay this big game we promised Nintendo. Hey, we also got this other stellar game that's practically done. Here you go. It's called Diddy Kong Racing. And Diddy Kong Racing was announced, I believe,
it was announced
late September. It came out November, unheard of turnaround time. Went on to set all sorts of records, including at the time being the Guinness Book World Record holder of most pre-orders for a game, which has long since been eclipsed, but still a monumental achievement for 1997.
Right, that's the kind of thing like box office receipts that there's no way that those original records will hold up in a modern era, especially with technology, with smartphones, with the internet culture becoming more and more ubiquitous. It's more acceptable for people who grew up on that stuff to continue spending their income on it. So you're gonna see more and more, fans basically.
Right. But it's remarkable. This is like the internet was around, but I mean it was kind of like color TV in the early 60s. Not a lot of people had adopted it. So. They got the word out on Diddy Kong Racing in 2 months just through traditional print media. And they somehow made it, the most wanted game of that holiday season. Remarkable. And I think a lot of us were naively hoping Nintendo had something like that up their sleeves. Of course, hashtag I believe in Kevin Callahan, maybe Diddy Kong Racing would come back and save the day again. Unfortunately...
Folly. It is folly.
Well, it was a folly here. I'll cop to that because what we're getting is we're not getting anything we didn't know was already coming. They might have just pushed up the release date. And, well, we'll save that. But suffice to say, there's no Diddy Kong coming to save Christmas, kids. Christmas is canceled. It's over. Sorry.
Yeah. So before we get into some of the specific baffling things about what's been going on with Nintendo, because
baffling and for a lot of people infuriating, which is why I really wanted to do this episode, because do we have a right to be angry about this? I mean, we're just consumers, and they are hard at work games. So
right,
why are we getting so pissy about it? Why am I getting so pissy about it? I don't know.
Are you? I don't know. I'm
not really pissy. I'm more just. I've got some light sand in my fudge hole. I'll stop saying that. I promise.
Please stop. Please
stop. I've got to get it out of my system. It just The
Rare Replay Rare Fan Pack Ultimate Fan Giveaway presented by DK Vine.
The presented by DK Vine is the important part because that allows us to make these off-color references.
So anyway, let's start take some calls. See what the listeners had to say.
What did they have to say about Nintendo?
Hello, DK Vine. It's your friendly neighborhood Joker here again to talk to you. But not about the things you want to talk about, no! Oh, la la la, what are Nintendo doing? Why doesn't Sakurai love me? No, I'm here with a proper warning. Something you should be terrified about. Yes, Mametchi's loose. There's no better way of saying it. I was scrubbing out his cell, getting rid of some of the stains, and he escaped. Mea culpa, everybody, but be warned.
I don't even...
Was that it? Did you cut it off?
That's it. No, I didn't cut off anything. This has happened once before. Someone is calling in as the Joker.
A friend of Mametchi, apparently.
Right. So apparently it's a portent of Mametchdom to come in the episode.
Well, speaking of coming, apparently there's stains in the cell.
I guess. Yeah, that's yeah, Mametchi, you really should clean up after yourself in Arkham. Wow. Joker's really running the show, isn't he? Is that canonical to the Arkham games that the Joker is in charge of the prison?
In the first game, they took over the asylum, yeah.
Oh, okay. You might even say the inmates are running the asylum.
You might say that, but why would you?
Yeah, why would you ever say that? Ever. Let's take another call.
Thanks, Joker.
Yeah.
Hey guys, ACZ here, and I'm here to ask you a question about Nintendo's current situation. And basically what it is just, do you think Nintendo has sort of just given up on 2015 and just wants to get through it? I mean, looking at their recent investors meeting, they showed off that they do have some concrete plans ready for their mobile initiative and their new Nintendo Rewards program, but they're not due to launch until 2016 now. And also, as you guys have seen, their, holiday lineup isn't the strongest that it could be. Of course, we've got games with promise like Xenoblade still, but other than that, Zelda's not coming out this year anymore, neither is Star Fox, and basically what we're stuck with is Mario Tennis Ultra Smash and Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and with a Nintendo Direct supposedly coming, but not really having any announcements soon. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think Nintendo just wants to get rid of this year already? Just wants to start it new again? And why do you think they're hurting so badly? Do you think it's just because of the delays of Zelda and Star Fox, or do you think it's still some internal conflicts that happened after Iwata's passing? Anyways, I'm eager to hear your answers, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
Well, thank you for the call, ACZ. Very succinctly put, you're clearly a better broadcaster than either of us.
Yes, and thank you for not being an Arkham patient.
Right.
I guess it could be Clayface impersonating the ACZ, but I don't know.
Is Clayface a known mimic?
That's his gimmick.
His gimmick is a mimic.
He's a man made of clay who can take on the shape and persona of anybody.
Oh, he is literally a Clayface. Okay.
He's literally a Clayface. Come on, Chad. I know you're not as big a Batman fan as I am, but
yeah.
Now there's been multiple Clayfaces. The first Clayface was I think Boris Karloff.
I'm sorry, Hyle. I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. Faces Clay.
Okay. And he was just a theatrical actor who wore disguises. The second Clayface, Matt Hagen, was a thief who was exposed to this protoplasmic goo that changed his body into a literal clay man. And he could take on, I think he could take on the visage of anybody. Then there was Clayface 3, Preston Payne, who had more of an acidic quality to him. Then there was a fourth Clayface, Lady Clay, who was his wife.
That's not a real character.
Yes, it is. They later
Lady Clay.
They later had a little child Clayface, and then eventually,
They passed on the clay through their genetic code.
the first Clayface joined them, and they formed something called the Mud Pack. And
None of this is true, is it?
it's all true. And they took
Mud Pack.
they took Matt Hagen, who had passed away, the second Clayface. They took his blood and injected themselves with his blood. So then eventually the current Clayface is now the first Clayface, but he has the properties of the second Clayface. Do you got all that?
Yeah, I've got it down pat. I have no problems with that whatsoever.
So anyway, so what does Clayface have to say? Yeah, okay.
It basically, I think the salient question was, is there internal strife at Nintendo that could be contributing to all of this in the wake of Iwata's passing?
Yeah, and this is like sensitive territories. I don't want to presume anything, but in the name of filling up airtime, I'm going to.
Of course.
I think that, look, I'm pretty sure Iwata knew he was dying. I think he had contingency plans in place.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It was we've known he was ill for a while.
Yeah, they hid it from the public, but they knew this was coming, or at the very least, they were prepared for the worst.
Yeah.
So they had, any global business like this, any smaller business like this will have contingency plans in place. It's not just, our leader has passed away, anarchy. That's not the way it works. So I think, while it definitely might be a morale blow for everybody at Nintendo, I don't think their operations would have been affected in any way. I just think it gives that impression. I honestly do think they're done with 2015, but I think it's broader than that. I think they're done with the Wii U period. I think they're going. Yeah, I think beyond the titles they've announced, we're not going to see much more support for it. I think they're ready to move on. They're chalking it up as a failure. They're battening down the hatches, making smart financial decisions for the NX.
Well, in the interest of,
I honestly, I even think Zelda Wii U is going to be a bifurcated release. I think they'll still release it for the Wii U because they promised it, and because there hasn't been a significant Zelda game for the Wii U. But I think, like Twilight Princess, it's going to also come out for the NX.
Okay, well, Jeez, I hope that's not the case. People would start screaming bullshit at that, but
I've got a gut feeling. I'm not going to bet anything on it, but
didn't Eiji Aonuma say that it was going to definitely only be on Wii U?
Yeah, things change.
Things do change. Well, I'm going to keep coming back to this throughout the whole episode. The perennial, non-sensational Kongversation catchphrase of "there's literally no way to know."
But unlike the catchphrase for the Kongversation Live, where literally anything can happen.
Right. This is not a Halloween-oriented statement, but I don't want us to get into baseless speculation. But there are some tea leaves that we can possibly read. I don't think that internal strife is really what's going on. I do think they could have maybe communicated the succession plan a little better. Because what we currently have now is a situation where they have like interim presidents and there's like a co-presidency, and it is very kind of confusing what's going on. What they should have done is, I think they could have like had a Nintendo Direct style, video announcement introducing the, who's going to be carrying the company forward after Iwata's passing, and I think there could have been a tasteful way to do that, right? But
that's for the benefit of the fans. That's not for the benefit of the shareholders.
I think both, though, because what you see now is, on the part of the fans, a lot of confusion, which wouldn't immediately be reflective to the shareholders, but over time, people start making enough noise, having enough question marks stuck above their head, that I think the confidence may be. They may be starting to feel that in the stocks. I mean, I don't know. You're a Nintendo stockholder. Are you?
Yes.
What's happening with the price?
Let me be perfectly upfront with our listeners. I do own 3 shares of Nintendo stock, so I'm in the thick of things. I am in the discussions. I know
Right.
what's going on. And honestly, look, ACZ mentioned it. The mobile announcement. They announced their first mobile game the other week, and I believe it's called Jesus.
Mitomo, something like that.
Mitomo, and I might be botching that pronunciation. It might be Matomo, Mitomo.
No, yes, it's running for the election in 2008. No,
but a lot more fabulous than Mitt Romney.
No, I'm sorry, 2012. Good
Yeah.
God, 2012.
Mitomo would be the LGBT version of Mitt Romney.
Why
He's
that?
Mitomosexual.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that Mitomo, it doesn't seem like it's really a game.
It's not a game at all. Okay. It was very hard to read through the announcement because it was through a lot of meaningless jargon. But basically, it's a social messaging system that uses me's, and that's it.
And it appeals to shy people. Right?
Yes.
Wasn't that one of the strange things about it? Which is again,
it doesn't make any sense to me. This is basically like text messaging, except you got a me on the side. I don't understand what this is.
And there's AI that will message people on spec if you don't do so.
So it's forcing people to engage with others.
I guess it's like text messaging without all the control of text messaging. I don't know.
It's just like all of Nintendo's infrastructure. It's just a less efficient way of doing things.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that. Maybe their partnership with this company DNA will yield some sort of stable online platform. They really need at least that.
They completely botched this announcement because right afterwards their stock prices plunged by almost 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but stocks are volatile.
They're volatile, but that it shows they didn't control the message. Nobody saw this as a good thing. It's basic branding 101. You need to get out in front of this thing and portray it as like the greatest thing ever, and they failed to do so. It was just confusing. It was confusing and muddled, like everything they do lately.
Yeah, I guess if they are going to make inroads into a completely new platform for the company, especially one as controversial as this for Nintendo anyway. Yeah,
I mean, the fan base is mostly unified against it. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, so long as they're smart about it.
What kind of things? I have not had my finger on the pulse. What have people been saying about Mitomo?
Well, I mean, most people don't understand it, but as far as mobile games in general, a lot of Nintendo fans are against it because they view it as selling out. They view mobile games as cheap. They view it as microtransactions, and I don't think Nintendo would ever go down that route. But there's a stigma against it that they need to get over. They need to convince the fan base to take the leap with them, and they're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't want to see Nintendo do in the mobile space is port titles that are better played with, tactile button controls or joysticks, that kind of thing. If you've ever tried to play...
Well, they claim they're not doing that. They claim it's going to be original titles only.
Right, and there are certain things that a touchpad or something with a gyroscope, like basically any smartphone, would be fantastic at. And there are even several DS and perhaps Wii U. Yeah. Wii U games that are pretty much exclusively controlled with a stylus or with touch controls. I mean, imagine that Kirby Plasticine Panic. What is a Canvas Curse? Was that the original or the? Anyway, the one where you draw a rainbow line and Kirby rolls around. That would be perfectly playable on a mobile device. Something
what about like Yoshi Topsy Turvy or whatever?
Also, yeah, because that used the Game Boy Advance. It was like a gyro cartridge. Yeah, that would also work great for something like this. Those kind of applications, perfect. But this weird service hybrid that expands Miiverse, which is Miiverse itself is a service that I can't ever see using for actual communication.
Can you even transport your Miis over? It makes it sound like you have to make them from scratch in this service.
Oh, no, you would have to. It would be basically useless. It would be dead in the water if it didn't integrate with the existing Miiverse.
Okay.
I can't imagine. That would be utterly foolish. There's no way that they would do that.
That would be utterly foolish. There's no way they would do that. Nintendo's new slogan.
Now. See, so the one of the
I'm being salty, I know.
yeah, one of the things I keep coming back to though about this idea of a me-based text like a messaging system that messages people for you if you're shy.
Gobbledygook. It's so
It's not that. It seems, and I hope that this isn't a stereotype that I'm painting, but it seems like something that would be much more appropriate for the Japanese market. But it seems like a lot of the things that Nintendo does that are specifically for their Japanese market are very, very local, socially related, very, very communications based, which is ironic considering a lot of their communications infrastructure is shambles. But you know what I mean? They really focus on this idea of couch multiplayer, and I think a lot of that is
the
just the way
the GameCube had a handle on it so kids could carry it around like a lunchbox to their friend's house.
Right, and you know, everyone that I knew in America was like, what the fuck is this? But I don't think it was that controversial of a thing. I think it was viewed as a convenience in Japan.
No, and that is why, and this is something we've railed about on this show,
Yeah.
that is why it's taken them so long to get reliable online for their systems, because quite honestly, it's not a big priority for Japan.
Right, and it may be today, but yeah, it wasn't at the same pace at which it was for.
No, that's what I mean, and I mean, look, the U.S., I mean the West in general, but the U.S. in particular, it's so spread out. You know, I mean, we have what, like seven hours between us. When we want to play games together, we need that online infrastructure, but that's not really the case in Japan. I mean, you know,
right. And
so your social circles are going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be right down the street, or you know, in the same building. And
it's not right. It's not wrong. It's just that different markets have different needs, and something that I worry is that Nintendo is disproportionately catering to the needs of their home base.
Oh, they've been doing that they did that during the whole Iwata era. That we've ranted about this. And
yeah.
And I mean, yes, Japan is a reliable base for them, but you look at the numbers. I mean, usually they do more than half their business overseas.
Yeah.
So they can't just completely cater to that very specific market. They need global awareness of their product. They need to start thinking globally as well. Like, okay, this might do very well here in Japan, but how is it going to play in the West? How is it going to play in the UK, America, Australia?
Right.
I used to get that from Nintendo, but I feel like at a certain point they stopped taking that into consideration. And one of the reasons I'm hoping that their new president kind of brings some of that awareness to their proceedings is because he's lived in America. He speaks English fluently. And I'm not saying that's a requirement, but he at least should be more aware of what plays over here.
Right. So
of course, it's not like they don't have branches in Europe and America that could tell them. You know, so it's not like it's either, you know, they're completely ignoring what Nintendo of America has to say, or I don't know.
It would be really great if this new president comes in making some grand proclamations about catering to a more global audience.
I like how we don't even know his name yet. Like it's it's something with a T, and
it's not Tanabe. I know that.
No.
It's not Kensuke. But at any rate, yeah, he comes in, says we're going to be more globally friendly, and then they target Antarctica.
To be fair, that's an untapped market.
Yeah, there are literally dozens of research scientists that would love to play new Nintendo 3DS XL.
How come penguins aren't playing our games? Our market research shows
the Joker has not let them out of Arkham yet.
Actually, the Penguin is traditionally not locked away in Arkham Asylum. He's taken to Blackgate Penitentiary.
Really? Why is that?
Because he's not considered clinically insane.
Really?
Yeah.
The Penguin is not considered clinically insane.
To be fair, he's eschewed that moniker. He prefers to be called Oswald Cobblepot. He's a legitimate gangster.
Wow. So is he the victim of bullying? Is that really?
Yeah, his whole backstory. He was bullied as a kid.
Oh, poor guy. Just because he has weird webbed hands, huh?
Well, that was only the Danny DeVito version, although that was incorporated a little bit in various Batman media. But
I'm not even going to try and understand this. It's the DC universe just keeps rebooting and rebooting. I think we need to set aside some time for a dedicated parody of this if we're really going to get into it.
Well, we needed some money to really get there. Luckily, luckily we've met that threshold.
Yeah, that was actually If you're not in the know, our second milestone on our Patreon campaign, which was obliterated in the first week, is to finish the perennially mid-progress episode of the Vine Donkey Kong audio program, which is a parody of the constantly rebooting DC universe.
That's right. It's called Crisis on Earth 7. So
right. Rolls off the tongue.
Anyway,
so we got kind of rambly, but
no. I mean, it's true though. I mean, one of my biggest criticisms of the Iwata era, and I feel bad for. I mean, the man just passed away, so I'm not critiquing him. I have a lot of love for Iwata, but his era did mark this very. It felt like Nintendo kind of circled the wagons and kind of just had a very insular mindset, and I don't know if that's a direct result of him or a change in culture at the company, but I mean, a lot of leadership changes happened around the same time in the early 2000s. So,
well, there's literally no way to know what actually happened, but I think our next caller may have a theory.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing. I would hope. I would hope it's somehow relevant.
Cross our fingers.
It was good. Mametchi.
We were warned.
It's kind of excited right now. Well, I guess that's in my phone call in right now. So, anyway. Yeah, Nintendo. It's been kind of annoying me lately, but, you know, a question about Nintendo.
What?
Do you think that...
I'm not pausing it.
Do you think that, the NX should have any gimmicks? Because I don't. And the reason why I feel the Wii U kind of floundered because the gamepad is a stupid gimmick. As is the 3DS's 3D. So I'm just being brutally honest. But what I want to know is, if there's one game that just made you feel, what the fuck is Nintendo doing? I want to know what that game is. For me, it was the original Wii Play. It just felt so lifeless, boring. Yeah, some of my calls kind of ridiculously depressing, but one of my special catchphrases you guys like. Mametchi out. Bye.
No, you can't say bye after Mametchi out. Drop the mic. Anyway,
Right,
Thank you for the call, Mametchi.
Man, he was he was extra lethargic in that one. I hope
Yeah.
you know, it's not a requirement to take a bunch of sleeping pills before you call us, Mametchi. It might help you relax you, but at what cost?
Yeah, usually doctors prescribe listening to this show instead of Ambien. Maybe that's his issue.
To be upfront, Mametchi is part of the Inner Circle chat, the aforementioned Inner Circle chat, and it's been
the $25 Patreon tier.
Yes, and it's been utterly delightful talking with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a very nice guy in real time.
it's in his calls too, but I mean, he is just very engaging, intelligent, fun to talk to, and it's been a great joy. I mean, I spend hours talking with Mametchi now.
And if you have ever had a question about the larger Duck Disney universe, he's your man.
He is your man. I would say that I've noticed there's been a trend and I'm not trying to dismiss your fandom of the Donkey Kong universe, Chad, but I have noticed there's been a trend when somebody's a hardcore fan of something in the DK Vine circles, that person is referred to as the Hyle of blank. So I would say Mametchi is the Hyle of the Disney Duck fandom.
Wow. I hope that you just felt really dirty using that phrase.
I did, and I've openly questioned it. Like why am I the like bellwether mark for like hardcore obsessive fandom?
Yeah.
Granted,
right now, I feel like the Chad of eye rollers. So
yeah, actually, I thought that was your most beloved fandom, Chad. Is eye rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really big on the internet these days.
To be fair, I think I get that reputation because of the like 7-paragraph Facebook essays on a weekly basis. I don't think it's
it's well earned. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge you it.
You keep it pithy, Chad, and that's your problem.
I have to. 140 characters, man.
I know. I'm saying that's the issue. That's why people are discounting your contributions.
Mm-hmm.
But for the more hyper obsessive fandom, obviously you do more work than I do on DK Vine. So
yeah, but you churn out the dedicated content, and you can't.
It's not all I churn out.
Oh boy,
fudge holes.
Oh Jesus! Don't keep that. Let that not be a running joke. Can we just nip that one in the bud, please?
I think that's the problem when you nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the fudge hole. Mametchi. So he had a question that I think we're both trying to spin wheels to avoid answering, but
it's like a cake. It's multi-tiered. It's there's layers, and you got to get through the frosting.
So first up, gimmickry on the NX.
Gimmickry, yes. Well, yes. The gamepad is. I look, when I first got a Wii U, I liked the gamepad. Mm-hmm. I thought, oh, it's like I'm holding a portable system to play my console games. This is nice. Ultimately, though, I've come down after especially getting an Xbox One and having a regular controller again. It's clunky. It doesn't justify its own existence.
Really?
Yeah,
I think that the gamepad is. There are some really great times in which I can take it into the bedroom. The signal reaches, so I can lay in bed and play a game that has gamepad support. That's pretty cool.
I know this episode's YouTube art and SoundCloud art has Jerry Seinfeld on it. So is this like a George Costanza thing where you're in bed, like having relations, playing the Wii U, eating a sandwich?
No, Susan would not allow that.
Yeah, well, you can just poison that bitch.
Right. Yeah. Well, I am far too cheap to get proper wedding stationery.
Yeah, that episode is in my mind as I'm embarking on marriage. I'm like, oh, can't spring for the cheap envelopes.
Yeah. Do at least get Michelle a wedding sponge.
She is sponge-worthy.
But no, it's I'm not playing Yoshi Woolly World while engaging in coitus. But
while getting your Woolly World,
that doesn't work.
I tried.
You tried. Oh, it only works if you turn world into
World.
WHIRLED.
Yeah, that was the intent.
Oh, okay. It wasn't apparent because it was pronounced exactly the same.
And I don't know if it's woolly down there. I don't know what your manscaping.
I wouldn't say I ever let it get to a woolly degree.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a bit much.
There you have it. That's a Kongversation exclusive.
Yeah, exclusive. So
take that to your erotic pillow and
oh God,
fantasize
less said about
that.
The erotic pillow, the better. Available on the Rubber Chicken. So no, I like the gamepad.
It's just a second
ways.
Screen, and I'm sorry, but why does the Netflix app now play on that second screen?
Well, that's the fault of the Netflix app developers. That's not Nintendo's fault. But perhaps they could have been more clear about the energy drain or the auto power down in their SDK. I don't know.
When they first announced the Wii U and we saw the gamepad, I got excited because I thought, oh, this is going to be basically another tier of gameplay. This is going to be a second screen where that you can interact with, for example, in a Donkey Kong Country game, you could maybe barrel blast into the second screen. I mean, could you imagine the gameplay possibilities for that? It was really exciting. And we've never seen any usage of it that reaches our fantasies. It's
So that's
just,
ultimately that's the tragedy of the gamepad for me, is that there have only been flirtations with its capabilities, and I feel like as a device there's a lot of really cool shit that could be done with it. The one title that I think really utilizes the core of the gamepad in a great way that I think necessitates it is Super Mario Maker. Like that game would be impossible to play without the gamepad.
But one game does not make for a successful controller that's built around, again, gimmickry. I mean,
Well, it's not built around it. It also has, a traditional set of face buttons and shoulders and triggers and D-pad and stick.
okay. It's more traditional than the Wii, the
Yes.
original flavor Wii. But my problem is this is a running theme with Nintendo and their ideas, their gimmickry. It's they have this idea, they build their hardware around it, and then they never utilize it because developers just don't care. Like, you've got to get developers on board with your idea. It's early,
Yeah.
and they just don't do that.
They didn't have with the Wii, and I know that Mametchi apparently didn't care for Wii Play, but I really liked Wii Play. There was this one tank game that it was like it was a play on the tanks format. It was top down, and you target the screen using the Wiimote, and in those days that was a novelty, of course, and that was sort of a series of tech demos. And then there was the killer app of the Wii that got into everyone's household, which was Wii Sports. The Wii U had the only...
No, let's be fair. It was just Wii Bowling. That's all anybody cared about.
And tennis. It was bowling and tennis.
No. Grandparents, parents, they were in it for the bowling. That's
All right.
it.
They should have had a Wii shuffleboard minigame.
Oh my God! They should have announced that for the Wii U. That would have gotten their new elderly fan base to adopt. I mean,
Yeah, Wii Canasta. But the Wii...
we yelling at the blacks.
Whoa!
I'm just calling it like I see it.
All right, calls them like you sees them. Elderly
Straight shooter
people
from the hip,
are
baby.
inherently racist.
I'm just judging it from my own family.
Oh God!
I hope they're listening.
You do live in
racist-
Appalachia. Yeah.
No,
Have your grandparents been outed by Anonymous yet?
no. My to be clear, my family is from Pennsylvania, so Amish country.
Oh, okay. But Jesus. Reel it in. But no,
Racist
on the
pricks. Racist.
on the Wii U, they really only had Nintendo Land to showcase the capabilities of the device, and several of the Nintendo Land games, like the Metroid one in particular, really played best with a Wiimote and nunchuck. There was I don't know, it really didn't do the same job that Wii Sports did to sell people on the device, and after that, Nintendo kind of abandoned the underpinning a top tier game franchise on the device.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, there was no, Mario Galaxy didn't really need it, but its waggle controls were sort of superfluous. But at least it had, second player support. They could point at the screen. I haven't really seen anything approaching that. Like the most in Super Mario 3D World that you really use the device for is moving the camera around.
Yeah.
You sort of rotate the gamepad, and like a diorama, it kind of rotates your camera. That's an ancillary feature at best.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's just little things that are added for it, and it just does not justify this big bulky thing. Which, by the way, whenever I put into my lap, it accidentally presses the trigger buttons. Because
really?
Yeah. Do you ever put the gamepad in your lap, and the ZR and ZL buttons, they get pressed when you put in your lap because the way they're positioned.
Yeah,
and it's annoying.
And it's a heavy device, so if you're going to use it with the stylus, then you kind of have to.
Yeah. I guess it's built for small Japanese laps. And I'm not stereotyping. Like, this has been a problem with Nintendo because they develop things that are built too small for Western hands. It's true. Like, this was a big thing back I think I first heard about in the GameCube years, and
Well, I certainly remember people, Microsoft kind of overshot in the opposite direction.
Yes, that the classic original Xbox controller, which was basically the size of a power pad. If you remember the power pad,
Yeah, you need Sasquatch hands. You need to be Andre the Giant to play the original Xbox. But
to be fair, giants and Sasquatches are not a market that Nintendo was reaching out to, and I'm glad Bill Gates came in and said, you know what, we're going to make a system for the Sasquatches out there.
Right, that's a niche if ever there was one.
What developer makes games starring intelligent primates? Buy them. That's how it happens.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
Right. So, getting to the NX though, given the history of the Wii, the Wii, I think, used its gimmick in a really intelligent way, which was to completely position it as this alternative while Sony and Microsoft duked it out. Whereas the Wii U, it got a little bit closer to the Xbox One, PS4 market, but was just gimmicky enough to hold it back. It's kind of that uncanny valley of traditional versus gimmick.
Well, like third-party developers didn't want to touch it because, again, you have this gamepad. What are you going to use it for?
Which is unfortunate because I don't think there's really much of anything on the. Now that the Kinect isn't supported in a mandatory way, there aren't any Xbox or PlayStation control capabilities that you couldn't do with the gamepad.
Yeah.
But still, I think it's more the specs that are holding back the Wii U, because it's probably a lot difficult. The Wii U would be, if you're porting something, that would be like the lowest common denominator.
Yeah. And this is something we also discussed in the Inner Circle, because we gave them a little bit a preview of what the episode was going to be day or so ago, and our own Jeff Onen, chimed in and said, well, guys, this is why Nintendo's gone in this direction, and he laid out a very valid history of why they, went with the GameCube and the Wii and the trajectory that kind of led them to the Wii U, but. You can justify it. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. So you can justify it all you want, but they were very successful with the Wii, and they have been very successful with their handheld devices. And I don't think handheld is an issue. Like, I'm not critiquing Nintendo's handheld business. That is something they've been strong with from the first day I knew Nintendo.
Right.
Not that's not true. The Game Boy came out I think the same year I first played an NES. But, basically from the Game Boy to the 3DS, they have been strong and the strongest. They've been untouchable with their handheld devices, and that's where they've really cornered the market, which gives credence to the rumor that the NX is going to be some sort of hybrid device.
To me, that's what could have, bridged this market gap for Nintendo with the Wii U. You look at it and the functionality, they've ported DS games to the Wii U eShop, strangely, as opposed to the 3DS.
Right, that pisses me off. God damn it.
But it's portable games are designed to be played on the go. Put them on the fucking portable device.
On the toilet. I can't properly play Donkey Kong Land 2 if I'm not taking a massive dump. Out of my fudge hole.
Well, thankfully, Donkey Kong Land 2 is on the 3DS eShop. But,
yes.
But anyway, it's strange that the gamepad wasn't inherently it could be taken away to be a portable device, or rather the 3DS could stand in as a controller, much in the way that like the PlayStation Vita was able to do. Right,
which is why I'm worried that if the NX is what people are saying it is, then it's just going to look like a Wii U and be confusing. Like, if it just looks like it's a gamepad, is it really going to sell itself on, this is also a portable device?
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that's the obvious thing for them to do. I think they should have done it this generation. Like Smash Brothers, it lets you, because of the kind of the parity between the two versions of Smash Brothers, you can use your 3DS as a controller. That really should have been an out-of-the-box solution for the Wii U.
Yes, and then that would have saved us from the two versions of Smash Brothers, which have pulled Smash Brothers down this generation because everything has to match up with a 3DS version,
Right.
Which means characters have been sacrificed or split up, or
the ice climbers and yeah,
and it just made it more of a garish mess and really limited its potential.
right. So I think that was half of Mametchi's question. As for what game, I really don't have
I thought we
one
already
for-
answered that. I thought you already answered that.
What which game I think makes me wonder what the hell is Nintendo doing?
Yeah.
What did I answer?
I don't know. You mentioned something. Maybe I misinterpreted it. I mean, they would. I don't know. This. I mean,
Let's just assume we both answered that part of his question.
quite honestly, it's not the one game that makes me wonder what the hell Nintendo's doing. It's more of a death by 1,000 cuts. You know?
Yeah, it's a pattern, really.
Yeah, and occasionally they'll pull away from that pattern. It's like Donkey Konga. That franchise made me wonder what the hell is Nintendo doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they announced King of Swing, and I'm like, oh, I don't care. Oh, this has got Wrinkly's Ghost in it. It's fine. So
It's all it takes, Nintendo.
I guess Nintendo Land would have been the most recent game that made me wonder what the hell they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Nintendo Land has sold a lot of copies, but that's just merely because it was the bundle. It was the initial bundle package with the Wii U. That's the only reason it's sold as much as it has. And I know you've defended Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
But I remember your reaction to it when it was first announced. It made you wonder what the hell was up with Nintendo, especially since they closed their big E3 press conference or stage show presentation with Nintendo Land, and it went over like a wet fart in church.
Right. Yeah. Usually churchgoers prefer the dry farts.
They do. Just like Jesus did, because he was out in the desert. I mean, the farts were usually dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was wet and splattery right into the donation tray.
Yeah, that's what they call it. We're both very well versed in church going culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's I don't know. Thanks for the call, Mametchi. I don't know. Oh, what do you want?
What do you want, Mametchi?
Hello, it's me, Patrick Stewart from off of Star Trek. Maximum speed, Dr. Spock. When I'm not busy railing around in my wheelchair in my secret base with Batman and friends, I like to listen to the Kongversation. Keep up the good work, boys. Now, I've one little question for you about Nintendo. Do you think Nintendo have a duty to cater for Western audiences, or do you rather think that they're in no way beholden to anyone other than themselves, and that they can do pretty much whatever the fuck they like, and probably get away with it? Righto, I'm off. Mr. Worf's just finished ironing my tights. May the Force be with you!
Well, thank you, Sir Patrick.
What is happening to our show?
I don't know. Honestly, I really like the trend of people calling in. Well, I don't want to say in character because I have no way of knowing that was not Sir Patrick Stewart.
You know, I'm going to go all in and say that was definitely Patrick Stewart.
Right. And in his weird drug-addled brain, he thinks that Worf is a real person.
To be fair, he could have named his pet monkey Worf.
And trained it to iron his tights.
If you had a pet monkey, that's what you would do.
That is true. That's like, yeah, that is the first thing I would do if I.
You have a lot of unironed tights, Chad. I know this about you.
You've seen my tight drawer. It's a mess.
It's shocking.
Yeah, it's disgusting. So, well, thank you for the question. We touched on it a little bit.
Thank you, Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick, please call again. He must be a first time, long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there an imperative for them to cater to a global audience? I mean, obviously, it's Nintendo's company. They can do whatever the hell they want.
It's their money to blow, really. But they're a global brand. It's not like
right.
They've been a global brand for over 30 years now. They've established themselves all over the world, and it is. Look, I don't mean to come. I don't want to be like, I don't know, like xenophobic in my comments, because that's not what I'm trying to get across. Like, yeah, absolutely, they've got to play to the Japanese audience. That is their backyard, and they know that audience better than anybody. But yeah,
arguably not better than Sony, but certainly
okay.
better than Nintendo of America does.
Let me rephrase that. They know that audience the best.
Okay. What?
Meaning,
how is that a rephrasing? Wait, what? Too many pronouns.
Okay. What I mean is they may not understand that audience the best, but that is the audience they know the best.
Okay, I'll agree there.
Okay. So it's just they've got to make Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Europe, and all their various other Nintendo ofs stronger partners rather than somebody that they direct and issue proclamations. They've got to partner with them and create synergy.
Right. Although I think that this isn't a problem that's specific to Nintendo. Microsoft, an American-based company,
yes,
has a huge problem catering to Japanese audiences.
And I was actually going to bring that up because that was in my mind when I was saying this. Yeah, they've got the same problem, only in reverse. And you know what? There's a theory that the NX, and this is a crazy moonbat theory, and I'm not subscribing to it, but wouldn't it be nice to coin a phrase from Brian Wilson? Wouldn't it be nice if the NX stood for Nintendo Xbox, and this was a partnership between the two companies to help them fill that gap?
Well, that would solve a lot of the Donkey Kong universe's troubles, wouldn't it?
That's all I care about. Who's going to make Donkey Kong games? Get Rare on the case.
Yeah. Once again, we'll no longer have to rely on Royston to stretch out the wings of the Donkey Kong universe.
And now when we ask Rare employees which Brothers Bear is best, it's actually relative to their jobs.
Yeah, and we won't have to preface it by saying it's okay. Craig Duncan already did it.
These are characters you guys created.
They don't remember Blunder Bear. They don't remember Evil Acorn.
If nothing else, them interacting with us a little bit more is just a good refresher course for them.
Yeah, what I worry though is that if we really continue harping on the likes of Evil Acorn, they may think that there's a disproportionate importance in Evil Acorn, and as our YouTube subscriptions have indicated, no one gives a shit about Conker's Pocket Tales outside DK Vine. I don't want Rare to fall into the trap just because we have artificially influenced them.
And to be perfectly honest, even about 70% of the DK Vine community doesn't give a shit about Conker's Pocket Tales. It's just us in our ivory tower.
Yeah. In our ivory crow keep.
Yep. Anyway, I don't. This is a tricky question because you know how I feel, and I just don't know an articulate way to express it without seeming like a closed-minded Westerner, an ugly American, if you would. I want Nintendo to. I mean, this is what companies like Retro should be there for,
Yeah.
But it seems like their base in the West has just rapidly shrunk in recent years, and maybe that's the loss of Rare. Maybe that really did leave a gaping hole as far as appealing to Western audiences.
Well, so here's a question though, and there's a difference obviously between Retro and Rare. In the N64 days, Rare they had, at least 3 console game development streams going on at any given time, whereas Retro, they're only...
To say nothing of their portable titles.
Right. And Retro, which at least had 2 teams. Retro only has capacity for 1 game at a time, and a lot of that's owing to the nature of AAA game development. It requires a lot more people and a lot more...
But Tropical Freeze wasn't AAA, that was shovelware that Nintendo forced upon them. Should have been Metroid.
Right. Well, no, speaking of Retro being forced to do things,
Let's talk about Retro, yeah.
Okay, so I haven't seen this, but you put it in our show notes. But so tell me a little bit more about the process of Retro pitching a game.
Okay, well, now this is all scuttlebutt from around the interwebs, not the classic Donkey Kong 64 character Scuttlebug,
which we named.
Just to be clear.
Because Rare couldn't be bothered to give him a name.
Which Lee Loveday basically said we were allowed to name because they couldn't be asked. So Tamaki, who is a fellow from Unseen 64, and Unseen 64 has uncovered some great stuff over the years. He's come forward with basically information about Retro.
Okay.
And I don't know. I can't vouch for the accuracy of this, but this is from a source people seem to trust. So I think it's not just like rumors from 4chan or Reddit. This is actually a legitimate person.
Yeah.
So basically,
It's
Retro
not artificial intelligence.
Yes. Retro is allowed 3 pitches to Nintendo when proposing a game. If all 3 pitches are rejected by Nintendo for whatever reason, if Nintendo's not feeling any of the 3, then Nintendo assigns them a game. And that's the way it works. I don't know if it's ever come to that, but apparently them be the rules.
That's pretty harsh, isn't it?
Well, Retro's on a much tighter leash than Rare ever was, and that's just simply because of the nature of what Retro is, A lot of people think of Retro as basically the new Rare, and they've never been the new Rare. They're Retro Studios,
I mean, yeah, there are some commonalities. Obviously, they're a Western studio. They have been the stewards of Donkey Kong Country, but the way they're constructed is completely separate. And
they start with the letter R.
They don't have the company autonomy that that Rare did. I mean, they are to Nintendo what Rare is now to Microsoft.
And apparently they've always got somebody from NCL overlooking their work, at Retro with them. So, yeah, there you go.
Interesting.
So after Tropical Freeze, apparently, Retro had a couple of their pitches rejected by Nintendo. Said, nope, we're not going to do that. Nope. Try again. You get one more.
Again, these are all rumors. When we say that these are things that happened, it's within the context of the rumor that we're regurgitating.
Right. If anybody at Retro is listening to this saying that's wrong, well, you know that. We don't. We're just going off the internet scuttlebutt, and this could be wrong. We fully admit that. So, but we got to talk about something.
Right.
So, apparently, several months passed after Tropical Freeze with them not actually doing any games. They were just trying to come up with game ideas that Nintendo would approve. So there was just this whole, I don't want to even call it dead period, because if they're trying to come up with game concepts, they are working, but they're not actively working towards making a game. Finally, they got a pitch through, and...
well, hang on. Let's clarify, because
okay.
Rare,
this isn't my rumor, Chad. I'm just going by what they said.
But when you say it's like a fallow period, they're not sitting on their hands.
No. I stressed that they were actively at work trying to come up with the best game to pitch to Nintendo for them to work on,
like an R&D period.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was essentially a period where no game was actually being developed.
Well, several games were being developed. It's just none of them had a green light yet.
But if they get the red light, then not only is their name possibly Roxanne, but it means that game that's several months of work out the window. Mm-hmm. So, or several weeks, whatever. But
right. I mean, some engines. I mean, there could be some components that could be leveraged in the future. But yeah,
you can always kit bash stuff. Yeah, from prior work. I mean, hell, Donkey Kong Country had various elements from other Rare projects, including a Battletoads sequel. So
right,
that's where the Kremlins came from. So, it's not like that's not part of a valid part of the process. But anyway, finally they got a pitch through, and then I guess they jumped the gun and announced that they were going to show it at E3. They had the infamous "Can you dig it?" tweet.
Which was breaking like a year of radio silence from Retro's website and social media.
Yeah, because they joined Twitter to much fanfare. Michael Kelbau even followed us. He followed the Kremlin campaign to bring back K. Rool in Smash Brothers. He was they were active for a while, and then zilch.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the difference between what Rare was with Nintendo and what Retro is with Nintendo. I mean, it's the way that Nintendo, and I think Japanese companies in general, they're very
demure,
very private. They want to control their message as much as possible. That's why you don't see a Scribes on the Retro Studios website. You know,
and that's what we really want out of retro too.
Yeah,
Is we want that level of communication that we've finally gotten back with Rare after the whole Connect Sports era. You know, Rare is like not only engaging with the fans, they're engaging with the fans like they've never engaged before.
Yeah, and that's part of not only the genius of Microsoft to let Rare be Rare, but even St. Phil Spencer, but even internally to Rare, you know, Craig Duncan is letting the creatives at Rare kind of, you know, run their own social media game, which is
right.
Is fantastic.
Rare is no longer doing what Microsoft tells them to do. Microsoft is allowing Rare to be Rare, and I think it's in just a few short months since this new MO has been unveiled, it's paid off greatly. I mean,
it's funny that we said at the top of the show that that for one episode we're not going to openly fillet Rare, and here we are. It's like this is our neutral state at this point.
My mouth was hungry, Chad. No, we're Rare fanboys, but also, I mean, we're pragmatic about it. It's not like we're blindly accepting of everything Rare does. I mean, we're very hard on them, much to our discredit because we didn't have the full story, you know. But back during the post nuts and bolts Connect Sports era, we were more hard on Microsoft. We were very much pro Rare even during that time. We were white knighting them to a degree. We didn't understand the full story, so we were just, Microsoft is bad. Oh, and you know, we were playing into that ugly internet mentality that we now rail against, but we don't. Our hands aren't clean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we were young, dumb, and etc.
I was hoping you were. We gotta market that T-shirt. Maybe that could be like a Patreon reward.
With the young, dumb, and full of cum shirt.
Yeah.
If we
at least
can ever
the bumper sticker. At least the bumper sticker.
If we can ever get a cross promotion with RedTube, we'll be set. That's where the real money is, man.
DKVine.com/RedTube. Check it out. That link actually works.
Check it out.
So anyway.
Seriously, do.
I
don't know. I think we've adequately answered Sir Patrick's question.
No. I'm not done talking about retro, though.
Okay.
Okay, so they announced this erroneously that they were going to can you dig it? And then they had the link to Nintendo's E3 site. So obviously, Retro's going to show something at E3. Well, apparently Nintendo didn't want to show it off at E3. And why? I don't know. It's probably because they needed that floor space for Charles Martinet to do his act, or for the massive dressing rooms for their paid models and costume Mario characters.
Yeah, I know we talked about it at E3, but it bears repeating. We found this sort of cafeteria area behind the show floor that was sort of our place to catch our breaths, but between the sensory overload that is E3, and out of the doors of this like nondescript wall that bordered Nintendo's stage, that's where the Mario and Luigi people, like the giant costumed Mario and Luigi,
They're
would
called
come
Italian
out of.
Americans, Chad. Don't call them Mario and Luigi people.
I'm sorry. I apologize. That's extremely insensitive of me. But no, they would come out of this like door off to the side. There would be handlers the entire time. They would make a round, and then they would be like quickly whisked away back into the door. It was like sighting Sasquatch.
There's something so patronizing about that. And I don't mean it in the good way. Where people give us money through Patreon.
Right. That's the good patronizing.
No, it was so patronizing. It was like, this is what Nintendo thinks people want to see from them at if they actually pony up the cash to go to E3. This is what Nintendo thinks. Oh, they want to see people in Mario. There was a garish theme park mentality to it, and it made me sick.
Really? See, what made me sick about E3 was my actual illness during E3.
They dedicated all this floor space for like private dressing rooms, for like the places where all the Nintendo folk could hide away from everybody. Mm-hmm. Floor space that could have been used to maybe show off Retro's new game. Now, granted, Nintendo probably didn't want to show it because they already had to show off Star Fox and Super Mario Maker. They didn't have room for Retro.
Yeah,
no room at the end.
Crazy thing was Star Fox was at E3 2014. Mario Maker was at E3 2014. It's like, it's insane to me that they even had fucking Woolly World, which was already out in the UK. And was at E3 2014 at this E3.
You think they would at least have Retro's game there to drum up excitement?
Yeah.
And maybe they thought, well, people are going to crucify us because it's not a Metroid game, and the Metroid game we are showing is not going to be received well. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't ready for prime time. Maybe that was a little premature, and there were
just do the Donkey Kong Racing thing and whip up a trailer. You know, you don't need to really like have it at the show floor, but announce it.
That's true. They could have incorporated something into their direct. That's true.
But anyway, so yeah, there's kind of a mystery of what Retro's working on right now and why Nintendo has been so harsh with it. I don't know if you can even say that, but they've definitely been not even dismissive. I don't even know what you would call it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to do this without sounding pejorative about or just overly negative about everything, but
I don't know, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be a Donkey Kong game. I'm going to say that much, and I'm fully accepting of that. I think it's
unfortunate because they've even said there's unfinished business that they have.
I think if we're going to get a new Donkey Kong game, assuming the NX isn't actually a joint venture between Nintendo and Microsoft.
That is so stupid.
I know. But there's people out there who believe it wholeheartedly.
There's people out there that wholeheartedly believe that Shrek will be the next character in Super Smash Brothers.
I know, but there's a reason why these people are like YouTube stars, and we are barely scrapping by with our Acorn videos. So let's be fair. Let's be fair here. These people are the majority opinion.
Another caller.
Well, no, I'm just gonna say if it's not rare,
I need a palate cleanser after acknowledging that is the vast majority. Of
all right. If it's not rare, if it's not platonic, something crazy like that, Monster Games, I still think could make a great third Donkey Kong Country game. It could be like when Donkey Kong Country 3, had a new team at Rare make it after the Greg Mayles, Chris Sutherland team, but I don't know. I'm hoping we're going to get a third Donkey Kong Country from the Returns trilogy, if you want to call it that. But I don't believe Retro is working on it right now. It'd be great if they could work on more than one game at a time, but it looks like they can't. So I'm going to be accepting and even embrace whatever game they announce, because I'm not going to be one of those hard fans that crucifies them for not making the game I want to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's hard. This is such like a negative episode. It's like my enthusiasm is being drained bit by bit.
Give in to the dark side, Chad. It's great, man. Feed off that negative energy, man. Get off on it.
Yeah. Let it consume you.
So let's take another call. Maybe this is going to be like Malik or something, and we're just going to ride a wave of positivity.
Yeah, uplifting. All right, let's see.
Hey, I know I already left the call and everything, but
come on.
Two other questions that I thought about when I was taking my my midterm. So this is based on discussion we had in the inner circle, which is available for only $25 via Patreon.
But thank you.
With that said, question number one: do you think Nintendo would have been better off if they kept Rare? Because a lot of Nintendo's problems happen to be because they don't know how to market to a Western audience. So. The GameCube and Super Nintendo had a lot of games that were, a lot better off because of Rare, which Nintendo still has not perfected. They have Retro Studios, yeah, but they never cranked out as many games as Rare did. That includes football games, which, baseball. Yeah, it was Ken Griffey Jr. Because Retro Studios wanted to make a football game that ended up getting canceled. But anyway, question number two, again, based on inner circle discussion, not disrespect to Dead, but is it Iwata's fault? Everything. Thanks, everyone. Bye. And no disrespect to Satoru Iwata. I love him, but we have to. It's just how it is. All right, see you guys. Chad's favorite catchphrase on Mametchi out.
He is not selling that catchphrase whatsoever.
No, I don't think so. No.
If it's honestly Mametchi, if it's obligatory, if it's not something that you feel in your core, don't worry about it. I don't want to make you feel artificial in any way. But I do appreciate you putting forth the effort.
No, I fully expect him to continue that catchphrase. There's no takebacks here.
Yeah, it'll be punctuated by a deep sigh. But I don't think anyone's taking you wrong, Mametchi. I'm speaking ill of the dead. I mean, we
speak ill of the dead all the time here.
Constantly. It's a linchpin of the conversation. No, we even had some of those thoughts when we did our tribute to Satoru Iwata
it was
right after his death.
very hard of us to eulogize him because we have been so critical of him prior to that. So where do we get off eulogizing him? I mean, really. But
I think that you can't really draw a direct line between Nintendo's, because as we said on that episode, Nintendo sort of stumbles into failure and they stumble into success, and it's very difficult to divine which of their bizarre notions will yield either of those outcomes.
Yeah, I know the N64 era is remembered fondly. There's heavy nostalgia for it now, but and they had a lot of success with the N64, but the fact is they also lost a lot of money during that. They stuck with the cartridge-based format, and
very expensive. That cut into their profit margin on every game. And as games got bigger, like Conker's Bad Fur Day and Resident Evil 2 were on 512 megabit cartridges. Those were more expensive to manufacture than other cartridges. So like the bigger the games would get, the less Nintendo would make.
Yeah. So when Iwata took over, he had to kind of course correct a lot of things. And again, it's not just Iwata who's doing this. He has a whole team of people. But a lot of Nintendo's decisions came about from kind of the disaster of the N64 era and the blunder of sticking with cartridges. And hey, I loved the cartridge format. I loved the weight of a cartridge. There's nothing else like it. Holding that game, you're holding a game, man. It's not just this like concept of something's going to load from this disc or I'm going to download this. No, man, a game is a brick in your hand.
Yeah, although to be fair, most of what you're calling a game is just plastic.
It's the mindset though, especially when you grow up with that.
Right.
Like a game is a cartridge, and it's been weird not having that joy of what is the sticker going to be on the cartridge. We have the discs still, but it's not the same, man. It's not the same.
Yeah. I think that the bigger difference is downloadable games, because the disc is still something tactile that you got to put into the system.
Yeah.
It was a more expensive medium though. But Iwata, I think it's been pretty well established that after Hiroshi Yamauchi left, that like Iwata was the decider.
He's the decider.
I'm the decider. He was the decider to ultimately pass on the purchase of Rare, right?
Ultimately, that is, that's at least who we pinpoint. And you also, to be fair, like Rare gave them an ultimatum. The Stampers gave them an ultimatum. Like, look, either buy us outright or we're putting our company up for sale. And they didn't have the money to really, justify it. Even though Rare gave them a lot of success, over the 8 or 9 years. But also Rare lost all of their allies at the time. Howard Lincoln left. He went to fully concentrate on the Mariners. He left Nintendo of America.
Right. Ken Lobb went over to Microsoft.
Lobb jumped ship to Microsoft. Really, if you wanna point to anybody, Ken Lobb greased the wheels for Rare more than anybody at Microsoft. So there were a lot of factors there. I do think it was short-sighted to sell Rare. I think,
especially considering, that, as you said, a lot of the success of the N64 was owing directly to Rare. So it's kind of like, it's like saying, hey, here's a bunch of money, now use it to get us.
I'm sure some of Rare's decisions didn't sit well with Nintendo over those years. I'm not sure if a game like Donkey Kong 64 would have really impressed the guys like Miyamoto over in Japan. I'm just saying,
it was a huge success in Japan, though.
It was, but I think it's also very contrary to a lot of their game design philosophies. We've been critical of Donkey Kong 64 on this show, and
Extremely.
I think the fact that they couldn't get the game to work without adding the game, the expansion pack, probably didn't win Rare any brownie points either.
Right.
And I'm not saying like this actually contributed to anything, but I think, between that with Conquer, everything else, it was just like, okay, you know what, we're done.
Yeah, maybe there was some friction, and again, even going back to the way that that Rare operated its public relations wing, largely through Lee Loveday, that might have even created some strife. And again, this is all speculation.
I doubt that. I don't think Nintendo...
Well, we just talked about not anything in particular, not Loveday saying things he shouldn't, just the openness versus the reserved Japanese way of doing business. I think that might have been a friction causer.
It's entirely possible that, maybe Rare got too big for their britches for Nintendo, the new era of Nintendo's comfort.
Too big for their novelty red Y-fronts?
Exactly. We've talked about it, how the Rare logo became more and more prominent on game boxes as time went on. That became like a bigger selling point than Nintendo itself. And Rare has his website. They interact directly with fans. Suddenly there's Rare fans over Nintendo fans. And
you look for that Open R logo. Yeah.
Rare's making these decisions that don't mesh with the company ethos, especially where somebody more traditional like Iwata comes in, who has the very Japanese mindset of game development and outreach. Mm-hmm. And then you've got, honestly, things like Rare showing off Diddy Kong Pilot and Nintendo having no interest of publishing this game because they don't understand the point of it, because it's a flying game that doesn't utilize... It's essentially just a reskinned kart racer, and it's just... What the fuck is this? Why are you announcing this? And maybe
was Diddy Kong Pilot? I haven't ever heard this. There was
really.
Yeah. So give me a little bit of give me the elevator story about Diddy Kong Pilot's reaction from Nintendo.
They didn't want it. And that's why the gyroscope controls were announced with it at the time. That was the only way that Rare got it through.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh? Where'd that come from?
Oh, I don't remember, but it's well known.
Just conventional wisdom.
I talked about it. We all talked about it with the guys at E3 with Amir and Steve. Yeah.
Oh, see, was that while we were waiting in line at the Xbox event?
Or afterwards at the at our hairy Airbnb.
Oh well, if it was beforehand, I may have been distracted by the our Thai fetish video aficionado that we spent a lot of time with in that line.
Oh my god! We really need to get him on the conversation at some point. He's basically a reoccurring character at this.
He's
rate.
out there. He's out there in the world.
Yeah, but that's basically the story. That's the whole reason Rare was adding gyroscopic controls to that game. I think contrary to what they wanted, but it was the only way to get it through, to have that option.
They were even gimmick focused at that stage.
Yeah. So there's a little bit. I wouldn't say it was full blown tension, but there's definitely Rare was going one direction, Nintendo was going another. Rare was so successful and such a well known name and entity at that point that I think Nintendo felt like they couldn't control them, maybe. And it's just best to wash your hands with it, let them go off and do their own thing, and we get some cash from it. Which they needed that short term cash. And granted, this is what I think the problem with the Iwata era was, and I'm not blaming the man. He did a lot of good. He was. I fully respect him, but a lot of the Iwata era was short-term gains, massive short-term gains, but that dug them into a more long-term pit.
Yeah, even on a console generational scale, the Wii itself was obviously the leader of that generation.
And I'm not trying to be ageist, okay? Because I hate ageism. I hate it. I think we have way too much of a youth obsessed culture. I have no idea why once you hit 35 you're a non-entity, and especially here in the West, I think it's bullshit. But and maybe that's just because I will be approaching 35 in several years.
Yeah. You're already approaching it.
Well, so are you, buddy. So are you.
Yeah.
But no. I just by the way, Matt Corna recently celebrated his big 3-0, so now there's 3. Now there's 3 of us. One by one, we're dropping like dominoes.
Yep.
But I felt like this when I was younger, like when I was in my early 20s, because I knew, I mean, fingers crossed, I'd reach that age eventually, and I hate the ageist mentality. But there is a reason people try to market towards young people, and that's to build lifelong customers. If you're marketing...
You can have a lifelong customer that's in their 80s, but they won't be a lifelong customer for long.
Right. So, yeah, it's great that you got a lot of octogenarians buying your console. My grandparents... What?
I said, well done.
Yeah, yeah.
You were like, 80, oct, got it.
Yeah. Spider-Man villain, Doc, got it.
Doc Octogenarian.
They really should, his Aunt May, they really should have her like make a heel turn and debut as
he ate some he drank some radioactive Metamucil.
Actually, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, but in the comics, Doc Ock and Aunt May were engaged at one point.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, Alfred Molina. All right.
So anyway, I think that's accurate. I'm more of a Batman guy than Spider-Man. Anyway.
Yeah. I wonder if when all right, never mind. I was gonna make a BDSM thing out of throw me the idol, I'll throw you the whip, but it's not worth it.
No, it's really not.
No.
So anyway, yeah, it's great. My grandparents had a Wii before I did. That shows you. That shows you like what a cultural phenomenon and really groundbreaking system the Wii was as far as reaching. My grandparents never played a video game before Wii Bowling. My parents bought a Wii after that. I was the third person in my family to get a Wii, and I got it for Donkey Kong Country Returns.
And how many of them own a Wii U or a 3DS?
Zero.
Yeah.
In fact, the only games they own for Wii are Wii Sports and Wii Fit. After that, they were done, and they haven't played it for years.
Right.
So yeah, it's great that they branched out, but it was short-term gains with no long-term strategy.
Yeah, you really you need to focus on that conversion, and that's obviously Hyle and I have taken years of business classes, so we can speak intelligently about these strategies, but
no, I'm pretty sure I can bluff my way through any business scenario. It's a lot of BS. It's just BS and
confidence.
Yeah. So, I mean, Donald Trump has had 4 bankruptcies, and now he's the front runner for the GOP. Come on.
Right. Is he the front runner? I thought Ben Carson was sneaking up.
They flip-flop back and forth. Ben Carson apparently doesn't believe that the pyramids in Egypt were used for burial. He believes they were used for grain storage. That's a story that broke today.
Wow. Did the Egyptians mill corpses?
No, I don't know. We know what the Egyptians stored grain in, and it sure as hell wasn't the pyramids, so I don't know.
It was the Sphinx.
Carson 2016. Anyway, my point is, yeah, there's a reason why companies try to get you young, and then you've got somebody, if they can keep that audience, then they've got them in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, and so on. If you're trying to get them at near the end of their life, well, that audience isn't really going to stay there unless they're expecting some sort of trickle-down economics where it's going to go down to their children and their grandchildren. Mm-hmm. But and
so,
to be fair,
are you saying Satoru Iwata is a Reaganite?
In some capacity, he's subscribed to voodoo game console manufacturing. And to be fair, the Wii did trickle down to my family. My grandparents had it first, my parents had it, then I had it. The only reason I got it was for Donkey Kong Country, though, so that doesn't really apply. But yeah, so I think again the Iwata era, he did a lot of good. He just didn't know how to sustain that good, and there's no long-term strategy. And granted, he did a better job than I would have, because I would have just greenlit Donkey Kong games until I was blue in the face. But hey, that's why I'm not putting these in charge of these decisions. I can only critique on the sidelines.
Well, let's. We have 2 more calls. Let's get through them.
Let's get through them.
Yeah,
I've got a rant to go on before we end. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe this call will tee you up for that.
Oh.
Right, guys. Faye here. Just taking a couple of minutes out from the inner circle to give you guys a quick bell.
It's popular.
A couple of questions, one on topic and one off topic. To get the offie out of the way first.
If Elvis and Slick Monty had gone on to be an international mega hit, or if your careers in LA had taken off, do you think you guys would have still been pulled back to the Vine eventually?
No.
I mean, obviously you'd have played Returns, but do you think you'd have embraced the site in the same way that you have, even though your careers failed eventually? Moving on to the on topic. Nintendo, man. What the fuck's going on? I was thinking, we're now, 3 years in to the lifespan of the console, the Wii U. Let's do the comparison game. The 3-year mark on the NES, you had Super Mario Bros. 2. The SNES, you had Donkey Kong Country. You may have heard of it. N64, you had DK64. GameCube was Metroid Prime 2, and Resident Evil 4 as well.
Jungle Beat.
And the Wii, you had Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Now, the quality of those games may vary, but the point is these were all really popular games that all sold well. Now, how is it that Nintendo, in this day and age, coming up to one of the most important holiday seasons when the Xbone and the PS4 are really taking off, how have they not got a big game lined up? Zelda got delayed for fucking who knows how long. Fucking Star Fox has stopped up to Q1 next year. I just don't get it. Even if there was like a rush job or a port, just what are they playing at? Well, I guess that's what you're here to answer today. So, do your best, guys. Cheers.
All right. Thank you, Say. By the way, a little plug for Say's show alongside the Shogun of Truth from off of our forum. You can find them at the website Rare and Friends and on the Logcast podcast.
That's right. You can find that on YouTube as well.
So Hyle, what are Nintendo playing at?
You don't want to talk about our failed careers first?
Okay, so I think if things had taken off for us in LA, all of our time would have been consumed with that. Obviously, we would have been drawn back into these into obviously the forum. That would still exist. We just probably wouldn't be spearheading any of the efforts. And then with Rare coming back, I'm sure that I doubt that our presence on DK Vine created a butterfly effect to make the Renaissance happen. But if it had happened and we were successful showrunners, we would have certainly come back into the fandom, but I don't think we would have even had time to lead DK Vine efforts. Do you?
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. So I guess it all worked out for the best.
We failed upward.
We failed sideways at least.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, if we hit the $35,000 milestone on Patreon, Elvis and Slick Monty's coming back for a third season. So, you know what? It could still become the international mega hit. It so deserves to be.
We're only $34,600 away. Let's make it happen.
I mean, that's practically chump change at this point. If everybody on our Facebook page gave $1, I'm just saying.
Actually, yeah, we'd be there.
We would be there. So, Facebook, I don't know what's happening. Dropping the ball. Come on. Chop, chop.
All right. That's your domain.
I'm trying.
Use all your business schooling to turn those the loafers, the folks getting all that content for free, into dollar subscribers.
I apparently people don't like to be lectured why they should throw money at me. I don't know what it is. Anyway,
you'd make a terrible stripper. If lecturing is your primary tactic.
What we need to do is do what Iwata did and go after the elderly. They're more than willing to part with their money.
They love both strippers and lectures.
We could send the elderly emails and call them up and say, we need their credit card information. This is what people do. We need to be more grifters, Chad.
Yeah, we need to take our promotional directives from Nigerian princes that have been disposed.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well,
anyway, what are they playing at?
What?
Nintendo.
Oh, I forgot his second.
No, the elderly. No.
What are they playing at? What?
That was Say's question. I'm just rephrasing what the man was asking.
Well, rephrase it in a better way than what are they playing at?
You heard his call.
No, I just focused on the failed career aspect. That really stuck with me.
Do we need to listen to it again?
I
don't
think
know.
so.
Please no. We're basically we're kind of all circling around the same subject matter. Really, it's.
Yeah. Okay. What he had to say though was about how does this happen? How does Nintendo absolutely fail at a holiday season like this?
Right.
Like how are there no contingency plans in place? How are they going to delay Star Fox when they know Zelda's already been delayed? Like you can't just continually delay all your games and leave a completely fallow period.
Yeah.
And
is this part of your rant? Because I really want to hear this rant.
Well, we got one more call, so I can't blow my wad on my rant yet.
No, just blow it.
No, man. It usually takes me about an hour. I am a very thorough lovemaker.
Wow. That must be exhausting for your partner.
Hey, you do this with me every week. The conversation.
What, make love for an hour?
The conversation, no, for 2 hours or more. The conversation is tantamount to making love.
It's tantric.
Yeah, that could be a good bumper sticker. Tantamount to making love. The conversation. My rant is specifically. You said teed up, but it's more served. It will because it's Mario Tennis. Ultra Smash.
That's what we're talking about, though. That's Nintendo's big holiday title, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
Why don't we take the next call and then I'll go on my rant.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to end the show on the next call, but okay.
Oh my God! Did you guys see that Nintendo Direct leak? I think it's going to be Donald Duck in Smash Brothers.
Okay, thanks, Mametchi. See, that would have been a great punchline, but no. You want to end on your rant.
Mametchi is the Hyle of the Disney Duck fandom. Okay, well,
thanks for your third call, Mametchi, but not really.
Good Lord, is it really just the inner circle calling in this week? And Sir Patrick Stewart.
We were warned. The Joker told us that Mametchi had escaped his confines at Arkham, and here he is running rampant over our podcast.
I guess the inner circle is made up of our most dedicated callers, although Malik isn't in there, so.
Hey, Malik, what's the deal? Why aren't you giving us your money?
Oh, no.
I love you, Malik. If you can't, don't. I'm not guilting.
No. Let's not go down that path. So anyway, okay. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Unfortunately, there's no Taj this time. It's Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, and this is by default Nintendo's big holiday title.
Yeah.
I want to hear your thoughts on that, Chad, because you okay at E3 when they announced this. I was the more optimistic of the two of us because I had very fond memories of Mario Power Tennis. We're both Camelot fans. We're both Camelot files.
Yeah. Right.
And
in that we think that there was an unattainable sense of optimism in the early 1960s America.
Right, and honestly, it's fitting this game's coming out around November 22nd because this is the end of Camelot.
It's the end of Camelot, really. It's really unfortunate because, my fondness for the Camelot sports games is rooted in the RPG elements of the Color and Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Mario Tennis, and Mario Golf.
Did you ever
games.
play the Advance games?
I played Advanced Golf. I don't think I played Advanced Tennis.
Okay, so you have played Advanced Golf. Okay, good.
Yeah. And I love how it continues the plot from the Game Boy Color game that no one cares about, but it continues it in a super depressing way.
I know, like the characters age and have suffered from career-ending injuries.
They're like washed up.
Yeah. Holy shit.
They're hawking Japanese canned coffee machines, and it's a mess. No, yeah, but I love that they took something with a sports game and gave it a story, gave it personality, and gave it honestly a quite appropriate leveling up system. There was a lot of really cool stuff there.
They were good portable counterparts to the console games. And I think I've got more of a fondness. I love the RPGs too, but I also have a deep appreciation for the console games. Obviously, Mario Golf and Mario Tennis for the N64 They were a year apart from each other, and they were great for the time. I think they were some of the more engaging cameo games from that era. Certainly better than the Mario Party franchise, starting around Mario Party 3, which is when it started getting really tired, in my opinion.
Right.
But
I also do appreciate some of the console golf. I mean, as you said, the 64 ones were great, and they were the first ones of that ilk. They also integrated very well with the Game Boy Color cartridges by way of the transfer pack.
Right.
But I also think that the GameCube Golf version was pretty fantastic.
Okay, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. This is a tongue twister. Mario Golf Toadstool Tour and Mario Power Tennis, in my opinion, are probably two of the finest, if not the finest, Mario sports titles ever made.
Toadstool Tour, unlike the 64 version, actually used Mario elements as the course design. There was like a whole Mario-themed 18-hole course in which, warp pipes would spit your ball out closer to the hole. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff.
I think there was one course in the original Mario Golf for the N64 that had, Mushroom Kingdom-y elements to it. And maybe there was more, and I'm not remembering right. But, yeah, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour had a plethora of not only Mushroom Kingdom courses, but a course set on Donkey Kong Island.
Yeah.
Camelot, obviously, they're big Donkey Kong fans, and they actually came out and said they wanted to make a spiritual sequel to Donkey Kong 64 at one point, and that really tantalized us. But apparently Nintendo's only interested in them making Mario Golf and tennis games till the heat death of the universe. So
but then you look at Ultra Smash, and
I
was watched videos.
I was optimistic when they announced Ultra Smash. You're the one who compared it to just Pong with better graphics,
glorified Pong, and I've walked that back because, as I said previously, when on my initial mea culpa, and thank you for bringing this up again.
You're welcome.
Super Mario Brothers could be seen as glorified Pitfall. Any game can be seen as a glorified version of its predecessor. So it's unfair to call a tennis game glorified Pong. That's a bit wrong, but the core gameplay is still, without an RPG backing like they had on the handheld titles.
Well, they've never had an RPG backing on the console games, though.
Right, I know. I'm just saying, without that, without themed courses and that kind of thing, it does get very, very monotonous.
Yeah. Well, I was more optimistic because I loved Mario Power Tennis, and I'm more of a golf guy than a tennis guy because honestly, I was looking at the sales figures for all of the Camelot golf/tennis games. Usually about 2 out of 3 times, it's interesting, the tennis games outsell the golf games by a good margin. And I think it's because golf has the stigma of being boring. And honestly, when you compare the two, I mean, the golf games by Camelot are a lot more varied. I mean, it's essentially a little adventure walking through a green meadow, whacking balls around, but there's a lot more to see. There's a lot of variety. The tennis always feels a lot more confined to me. It's just you're on a court and you're whacking a ball around. And
it's not. Yeah, you're not communing with nature while whacking a ball around.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of golf courses are terrible for the environment because they create things like runoff and whatnot. But yes, nature, being outdoors.
Yes, that's what I mean.
There's a lot of pretty things to look at, even if it's built on a
like runoff.
But yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're very ecologically friendly when they build a golf course on Donkey Kong Island. They have to be,
right?
So. I loved Mario Power Tennis, though, and they really did a good job about making tennis interesting, especially for a Mario or Donkey Kong fan, because, not only were there a lot of just very inventive Mario-themed courses, but it was also had a Donkey Kong-themed course with critters and claptraps. And, I mean, it was the first appearance of critters in a cameo game, a Mario sports title. So, I mean, Camelot, they're big Donkey Kong fans. Diddy Kong's first appearance outside of a Rare game was in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've got the cred. They've got the street cred with us.
But this version, the only demonstrable difference that I can see is that it has the Ultra Mushroom, which is where Ultra Smash gets its name. By
the way, why are they using the name Smash?
That's another good question.
Because that just creates so much confusion.
Well, I think they're trying to capitalize a little bit.
That's very underhanded, though. That's like conning money out of the elderly. Only you're preying on stupid children.
Well, my kid asked for Smash. I thought I already got it for them. Maybe this is what they're asking for.
This is Ultra Smash, so it's got to be better,
right? Yeah. But no, I think that's really the only major difference is that for a few seconds at a time, your character becomes giant.
That's not the only difference. This is fundamentally blander than Power Tennis because it looks like they've removed all of the Mushroom Kingdom / Donkey Kong Island-y courses, the courts, excuse me, and they're merely just like the same court with reskinned surface.
Maybe they're just saving all the Donkey Kong courses for their Black Friday media blitz.
Well, it looks like the character roster has been significantly gutted as well. Mario Power Tennis had one of the best rosters on the GameCube. I mean, out of any Mario sports title. This one it's
early yet. I mean, do we know the final roster?
Yeah. They've announced the secret characters already.
Oh, okay, never mind.
And it's like Dry Bowser, it's Toadette, some other fucker, and a Sprixie.
Dry Bowser, by the way, he's like the exact opposite. He's the antithesis of Wet Adam Park. If Dry Bowser and Wet Adam Park ever touched, there would be like a black hole that would consume the entire universe.
Baby Bowser Jr. Sorry. Baby Bowser is a Mario Party character. Bowser Jr. is
what's the difference again? Oh, I remember. Yeah, Baby Bowser. He has like the isn't Baby Bowser a drone?
There were multiple Baby Bowsers, but there was a main Baby Bowser, and
there's the Koopa Kids, which are now the Koopalings.
No. Starting in Mario Party 4, the Baby Bowsers aged up and became the Koopa Kids, and so as a result, the Koopa Kids started to be called the Koopalines.
Wait. So the Koopa Kids. So there are two sets of Koopa Kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck this. Okay.
But then Clayface came in. But
this is the second Clayface with the powers of the first Clayface.
Dry Bowser, Baby Bowser, or Bowser Jr. Fuck, I did it again. Bowser Jr. This is how convoluted the Mario cast has gotten.
Is this
Toadette,
what your rant is about?
No. Toadette and a Sprixie. So those are the 4 secret characters.
I don't even know what's a Sprixie.
They're from Super Mario 3D World.
Okay, what do they look like?
They're the little fairy things.
Oh, those things. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So Diddy Kong is not in the game. And now that's a huge black mark in my book. But, of course, I'm a biased Donkey Kong fan. But this is the Kongversation. So what do you want, people? Now, Diddy Kong wasn't a Mario Kart.
You paused. I thought it was rhetorical. Was I supposed to be representing the people?
No, I was expecting the people to shout out, and I was expecting to hear them across this great land. But considering it's only our certain tiered Patreon benefactors listening at this very moment, then that's probably a small number.
Yeah, you're not going to get network level volumes of people leaning out their windows.
I dream big, Chad. I dream big. So, okay, Diddy Kong wasn't in Mario Kart 8, and that's really the biggest thing keeping me from warmly embracing it. You're a huge Mario Kart 8 advocate, and
I am.
for good reason. It's the best Mario Kart game since Mario Kart 64. You would argue better than 64?
I would say better than 64. I think that a lot of the 64 did some things, and this is a tangent, obviously, but 64 did some things that had never been done before, certainly. But I feel like Mario Kart 8 has refined the experience of Mario Kart while adding some crucial new elements and balance to it. I think it may be the best Mario Kart.
Okay, and that's a fair opinion to have.
Especially with the 200cc DLC, because that fundamentally changes the way that you play Mario Kart. You have to strategize. It makes the brake button no longer superfluous. It's not a vestigial control. Like you have to brake strategically, or else you're gonna utterly fail at 200cc, which I think it's really neat that they were trying to do new things. I love Mario Kart 8. Something that we would be fans of is fans of like world building. Most of the courses represent like a self-contained working world. And it's
I love that about Mario Kart. I'm not knocking Mario Kart 8 for that. But would you agree with me that the one flaw of the game is that the roster is the drizzling shits?
Yeah, I mean,
they could have been so much more creative with the roster.
Yeah, there are a lot of really dumb decisions like Pink Gold Peach. And the DLC didn't really rectify that. But ultimately,
if anything, it made it worse.
Well, you don't want Link and Isabella?
It's not Link so much. It's they added like again more versions. They added like
Tanuki
Catsuit.
Mario.
Yeah, Tanuki Mario. Yeah.
Catsuit Peach. Yeah. And Cyan Aluminium Wa Rosalina.
And this is an issue with Nintendo lately. It's that they're not embracing their rich, stable characters. They're starting to define like they're not defining characters as characters anymore. It's what if we put Mario in 7 different costumes and called them different characters?
They're skins.
They're skins, yeah. But I mean, it happened with Smash Brothers when they brought back Dr. Mario. We're seeing it now. Paper Mario is defined as a completely canonically separate Mario. It's not just a different art style. Basically, any art style or costume or variation is considered its own unique character now.
Well, I don't know that they're making that proclamation.
It's a path to madness, though. Where do you end?
Well, yeah, because Yoshi's Island was like a children's coloring book. So
but are we going to say that's canonically a different Yoshi now?
That's what I'm getting at. I think
from a crayon universe. I mean,
the paper. I think the Paper Mario and Luigi divide is the outlier. I don't think that it's precedent that flows backward into Nintendo titles.
It's a slippery slope, though.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, so yeah, Mario Kart 8, great game. Maybe the best Mario Kart game of all time. Maybe it's just nostalgia that props up Mario Kart 64. But the roster is a mess.
But here, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You are holding up Mario Kart 64 above Mario Kart 8, and I look at the rosters of those respective games, and all I see in Mario Kart 8 is additional characters.
Okay, but Mario Kart 64...
Where's Diddy in Mario Kart 64?
Yeah, but Mario Kart 64 has a classic, clean roster. And
okay. I don't know. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too here.
No. If you're going to add a lot of characters, make sure you use real characters. That's my only thing. And maybe I'm just salty that Diddy's not in it. And if Diddy's in it, I could overlook so much more. But
how about this? Would you have felt better about the roster if they had just organized it differently, so that much like you can select
so they're actually skins?
Well, yeah, like you can select different colors of Shy Guy and different colors of Yoshi. You go to Mario, and you can select different, Metal or Tanuki. Like, it's just contained within that character. Would that have made you feel better about it?
Absolutely. But don't sell me this bill of goods that this is actually a unique roster slot.
But that's entirely cosmetic.
It's cosmetic, but I have OCD, Chad. And this stuff matters.
All right.
So...
I agree the roster of Mario Kart 8 could have been a hell of a lot better, but I also view it as better than the Mario Kart 64 roster, so I don't know.
I would take the Mario Kart 64. At least there's an honesty to the Mario Kart 64 roster.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, the roster in Ultra Smash sucks. I mean, it's just, what is this? And the fact is, Donkey Kong doesn't even have a doubles partner now.
Mm-hmm.
He in Mario Tennis for the N64, Donkey Kong Jr. had time displaced Donkey Kong Jr. Remember, Baby Mario was also in the game.
Right.
A time to play displace Donkey Kong Jr. was his doubles partner. Fine. Diddy was his doubles partner in Power Tennis. Great.
Now who is it? Like his Skylanders cohort, Bowser?
Yeah, maybe they became best buddies.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what I'm gonna have to canonically go with in my headcanon here. But
Well,
yeah,
they've got that Han and Chewie relationship going on now, thanks to the comic.
right. Instead of Indiana Jones and Short Round with Diddy. But yeah, so the roster sucks, but that's not the game's main problem. I mean, yeah, it's weird that Diddy's in it, and honestly, here's the thing though, the fact that Diddy's not in it, and this is a Camelot game, and Camelot are avowed Donkey Kong fans. I mean, and the evidence shows in I mean, look at the Mario Golf game for the 3DS. Look at that course. That was probably the greatest.
I'm looking.
Are you right now?
No.
Okay, that was probably the greatest course for Donkey Kong. I mean, it was just full of Donkey Kong Country Returns, and actually trilogy references too, because there was TNT barrels and other things. So I mean, it was great, and so really the biggest evidence for me that this game is being rushed and in no way finished or polished or having that usual Camelot sheen to it is the fact that they don't have time to put Diddy in it, and that there aren't any additional courts like there were in Power Tennis, and that the only thing setting this game apart is you can get big with it. Your characters can get big,
right?
And I don't know who to blame. I don't think Camelot is to blame here, and maybe I'm just again white knighting them like I once white knighted.
Yeah,
Rare.
that sounds strange because it seems like that's the creative direction that the game took, and I would think Camelot was entirely in charge of that, right?
But is Nintendo telling them the game's got to be out November 20th, no matter what? Chop chop.
Well, I think it was always kind of targeted toward this. I think it's
okay, saying the game's coming out holiday and then the year is a very nebulous way of saying we have no clue when this game's going to be out. We're targeting it towards this, but chances are this is going to be out in the winter or the spring.
It's definitely Nintendo's fault that now Mario Tennis Ultra Smash is single-handedly having to shoulder the burden of Nintendo's.
It's a Mario Tennis game. Those games have they always crack less than 1 million copies sold, at least domestically. There's no way this game is going to move any copies. I mean, it's gonna move some copies, but it's not going to be anything to write home about. These are always supplementary side games. You're putting this was supposed to be the holiday of Zelda, and then it was supposed to be the holiday of Star Fox, and now you're telling me it's the holiday of Mario Tennis. It's not fair to Camelot. It's not fair to Mario Tennis. It's making this game get a lot of probably undue hatred already. I mean, people have turned against this game. And
that's not quite fair to the game. I just think it's being you're right. It's being unfairly positioned, and it's not the linchpin of Nintendo's holiday. It was never supposed to be that.
But the thing is, it is being rushed. I don't think there's any way to dispute that because this does not have the hallmarks, the bearings of a usual Camelot game.
I don't know. I think there's literally no way to know.
Yeah. Okay, you say that, but again, let's Sherlock it up here. Let's look at the evidence ahead of us. We can make some deductive reasoning here, and the fact that okay, look, maybe Diddy's not in the game, but the only way he's not in the game is if Nintendo's issuing an edict because Diddy Kong Racing for the NX is coming. Hashtag Kevin Callahan something. Maybe. Maybe. But since you don't believe in that, I then say that the only possible reasoning behind this is because the game is being rushed because of Nintendo's decree. They've already delayed Zelda. They've already delayed Star Fox. Those are both babies of higher-ups in Nintendo. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash does not get that kind of coddling. Sorry, fuckers. You've got to have it done. November 20th is when it's coming out. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's too many moving pieces in a game development pipeline.
I just told you why there's not. I just told you the only way this is happening is because of this. This is literally the only thing that makes sense, other than everybody at Nintendo and Camelot have lost their goddamn minds.
All right. Within the context of your premise is correct.
That's okay. I'll take it. God damn it, I'll take it. But it as a fan of Camelot. And I am a fan of Camelot. I just said the 2 GameCube games were like the finest Mario sports titles I've ever played. I think they're polished, they're fun, they have the proper spirit of both Mario and Donkey Kong, and they take the sports and they add a twist to them, which is what these games should do. They're not just bare bones sports titles. This pays such fucking shallow lip service to that.
I hope it's not a full retail, is it?
What? I don't know what it goes for, but god damn it, I'm not going to pay for it right now. Like I'm not going to pick this game up in a couple of weeks because I have no desire to. We do a show based on this subject matter, but you know what? I don't think I'll have anything to say about it. It's going to be like that Mario Golf episode where we barely had anything to say about the 3DS version. And,
is this a first for you, not picking up a DKU title on day one?
No, it's not I mean, there's that whole period where we were off making Elves and Slick. I wasn't picking up DKU titles. That's
I thought you might have at least been purchasing them.
That was the whole reason for I did a lot of purchasing, and then I had a stockpile, and I was like, you know what? I can't justify this anymore. I don't know if I'm ever coming back to this world.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason for the slush fund, and that's the whole reason Donkey Konga 2 wasn't something I was doing in between writing scripts for Elves and Slick with you. But and maybe it should have been, but
could have got it another way.
Yeah. So it breaks my heart a little bit to see Mario Tennis being a sacrificial lamb here. And I can't get mad at the game. I can't get mad at Camelot. I can't even get mad at Nintendo, but I'm mad at the circumstances that led us here. And I am just baffled that Nintendo would let this happen. This is just laughable.
Would you say, Hyle, that you're mad as hell and you're not going to take it anymore?
No, I'm tepidly angry. But that's even more frustrating. If I had righteous indignation, then at least that would give me purpose. That would at least allow me to channel this towards something. I just feel frustrated right now. And it's not even like we don't have a lot of good stuff going on in our world, in the Donkey Kong universe. I mean, Rare's back in full form. We've got Sea of Thieves we know is in development, but they're kind of in a quiet period right now where Rare Replay hype is on the wind down.
Well, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it alive by way of these supplemental Rare revealed videos.
By the way, that is a little late to be plugging this, but on Halloween they had that video with Robin Beedland and the Rare audio team.
Oh, and, what were they? The Rotting Pumpkins?
The Putrid Pumpkins.
Putrid Pumpkins. Yes. Yeah, they did a medley of 3. I think it was 3 spooky songs. From
it was
Rare
Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Grabbed by the Ghoulies main theme. It was a theme from Killer Instinct Gold.
Four then. Mad Monster
Mansion, and then Bachelor's Castle.
Right.
And oh my god, it was amazing.
I loved it. Oh, and there was even that crazy musical instrument that Robin told us about at E3.
The hurdy-gurdy.
The hurdy-gurdy. And I loved how he ended it with that chime. It was like he just had one of those giant percussive metal pipes that I don't know what they're called, but it had to have been the one to make that perfect tone, and just bong.
I mean, this video had production values. Like, they went all out. It was.
They put dry ice in Robin's trumpet. I'm surprised he allowed that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So go to Rare's YouTube channel and check that out, because Mother of God, that was well worth it. That was a nice Halloween treat.
Now let's extract Rare's from our mouth and continue with your anti-Nintendo rant.
Let me spit. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So we have good stuff to look forward to, and we know good stuff is coming from Rare, from Playtonic. But you know, I mean, I love Nintendo. We give them shit because of maybe cultural differences, because they're wacky. They like to innovate. We've had a long storied history, love-hate relationship with Nintendo. Yeah. When you divorce Rare from it, but
we've come a long, long way together through the hard times and the good.
Oh no, but I don't
Doesn't
know.
quite work the same, does it?
No. I think like yakety sax would be more appropriate for Nintendo. Because
You just see like Reggie and Miyamoto like running around in fast motion trying to catch scantily clad women.
Iwata's coffin going down a hill, like they're chasing it.
So yeah. Anyway, get on your rant. I want to see you up on the soapbox because it's usually me.
That was my rant. I was red-faced there for a while. No, it's...
You need to get your blood pressure checked if that would...
Well, to be fair, I've had like 5 cups of coffee since we started this episode. No, it just... It sucks. The circumstances suck, and I don't know how a global enterprise like Nintendo gets themselves in this position. Like, how they don't see this coming. You don't delay Star Fox Zero. I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? At the very least, you push Mario Maker back to November so that can be your big holiday release.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that it's out. And it's certainly, I think it will be their big holiday release.
But it's not, I mean, it's already like, it's diminishing returns at this point.
Yeah. They need to really keep up with the DLC and the community updates. And
they're
a lot
promoting
of that stuff.
Smash Brothers as part of their holiday lineup. When you're reaching back 1 year, you know you fucked up. You fucked up majorly. And I mean, I don't know. It's
shame on you, Nintendo. Shame on you.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.